All right, welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily and Also Curious. It's gonna be a packed show. If you guys have been, checking the news today, then you know we are about to inundate you with a ton of Superman news. We have got some trailer reactions from the new Eddington movie, as well as the pickup on Amazon Prime. And I saved it for today. I saw it yesterday, over the weekend actually, a Star Trek Strange New World Season 3 trailer. So John and I will talk about that. And also we have some news on the original plans for the Doctor Who finale. We're gonna get into that. We have lots more quick hits beyond that as well. Of course, we'll talk about all the new Superman collaborations, James Gunn teasing, what the post-credit scene might be, as well as a potential sequel to Superman, but not exactly a sequel to Superman. What is he talking about? There's so much to get into. Wonder Woman apparently is being written. I mean, that's a thing. Okay. So out of nowhere, James Gunn just casually drops bombs, and we'll get into all of that and so much more. To do that, let's bring in that news intro, and then we'll get the show started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. And you're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
And you know what? I didn't even mention the fact that we have to talk about The Incredibles 3 finding a new director. And I ran into this really cool article on The Hollywood Reporter yesterday, and I saved it for John because I think it's going to be an interesting conversation talking about how there are obviously the planned sequels for John Wick, but then there's also potential other ones. Like, will any of them go through now that it looks like Ballerina is underperforming at the box office? We will get into that. We also have some comments from Nathan Fillion about, his version of Guy Gardner, what that's going to look like. So we have so much to talk about. And as always, with me back today after another, it's just a 1 day long mission. He had like a long weekend, but he's with us today. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I got the perfect shirt to talk about stuff today. So here we go. Yeah, boy, David playing the Supermans on my shirt. But yeah. Are you already trying to play me off? Like, I've been talking for like 2 seconds.
No, this is like a welcome back situation.
Oh,
this is
okay. I thought you were like, because I heard like classical music. I'm like, are you playing me off already?
No, that's a different one.
I realize I'm very dark right now. I feel like sometimes, like on StreamYard, I am either really, really dark or really, really bright. There's no in between. So hopefully I can play with my settings a little bit and I look a little bit better. But outside of that, I'm doing okay.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Well, John is back, as Steven just said in the chat. Speaking of which, hello to Steven in the chat. Monique was the first one in. Happiest of Tuesdays to you. It's a scorcher out here today. Stay hydrated, friends. It was raining outside here, but it was hot. It was raining where I am.
I got my water bottle.
Yeah,
right here.
And I've got my trusty ginger ale. So there you go. But then I also have saltine crackers. So, I'm not really helping myself out there. But anyway, Hunter Iggy also here. I think the world's finest is on the rise. A great point. We will talk about that. Stick around. We've got a long show ahead. Steven asking, I have some topics I have to mention that hopefully you can talk about them. Well, Steven, if you do, then drop them in the chat. We might already have them on the show for today. If you don't, we will definitely see if we can bring them in. We have a really packed schedule already, so we'll see if we can fit those in today.
Right.
Even if we don't, we usually, bring them in the next day. So definitely pop those in when you can. And anybody, like all you guys watching, if there's something you would like for us to talk about, like a piece of news you came across, you let us know and we'll get into it. But yeah, I mean, we also just saw Man of Steel Magnolias is here. So everybody who is joining in early, welcome on in. Of course, we are happy to have you here. I've been seeing more and more new names in the chat each and every day. So as always, I like to say, while you're here, if you're new, especially if you are new, hit that like button. It really, we really appreciate it if you're enjoying the show. Hello, Enterprising. We hope you are also having a good day. We are having a fantastic day, a super day, as it were, because we have a lot of Superman news to get into. But off the top today, John, we're gonna get into Superman really quickly, but we do have to start somewhere else. And you know what, Steven's question on if we got the Superman tickets or not, I know we both did.
Already done.
We already did.
done.
We already did. So it's a bit of a spoiler, but we'll get into that in more detail a little bit later, because both John and I had our different experiences, and I'll even give you some updates on Bridget and Liz, because they are also gonna be going to see the movie. But as I was saying, we have to start off in a slightly different part of the universe. In fact, we have to go into the Star Trek universe because, well, over the weekend, they dropped a new trailer for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3. Now, if you guys remember, I should say, I'm chewing up my words here, Star Trek Strange New Worlds started off as kind of like, essentially a more of a, callback to Star Trek Enterprise of the old days, not Enterprise as in, the one with
Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula. I'm talking more like we're talking about Star Trek of, OG, James Tiberius Kirk with William Shatner and company. And it was meant to be a prequel to that show. Obviously, it's about, the crew before Captain Kirk ever joins the Enterprise. Even though we actually get Kirk here, like he's the captain of another ship. I particularly love the show. Now, when the show started airing, it was airing in the shadow of Star Trek Discovery, which had been the flagship of the franchise. It basically, renewed the franchise on television. Star Trek Discovery did. It's CBS All Access, which now is Paramount Plus, and so now we are at a point where Star Trek Strange New Worlds has become the flagship of the franchise, because Discovery just aired its 5th season a few months ago, was it, or last year? I don't know. Time kind of blends in. I got caught up to it after a while. So this will be the first time the Strange New Worlds is going to be airing as like the show in the Star Trek universe. And well, we know now that Paramount Plus is going to debut the season premiere for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 on July 17th. And John, you saw the trailer, so I want to get your thoughts on what it looked like to you. I have a particular liking for this show, because even more so than Star Trek Discovery, and I guess even more so than any Star Trek show in the current era that they've produced on Paramount Plus, I feel like this one harkens back to the original Star Trek, and it has the visuals of like the modern day, like what started with J.J. Abrams movies, where it feels more dramatic, it feels more like a upscale movie, as opposed to the TV shows like what we got in the Next Generation. But thematically and the way they kind of approach the storytelling feels much more of a throwback to the original series. So John, what are your thoughts on the trailer? What did you think about it? Of course, airing its a premiere on July 17th, which is going to be a busy month for the movies, but also on TV.
It just feels like I never really got into like the later Star Trek stuff. Like I watched the movies. Thought Star Trek Beyond was probably the best one out of all of them, because Justin Lin actually understood the franchise. So, and it didn't have like fucking, Alex Kurtzman a part of it either. So it felt more like Star Trek than others did. Um this just kind of feels more like Kurtzman Trek, because it's just, I don't know, it just seems like they're trying too hard. Like from every like Star Trek fan I talked to, they hated Discovery, they hated the first 2 seasons of Picard, they hated Lower Decks. Apparently Prodigy was also really bad. This was no exception. This just looks like it, you know, it looks like it's just like copying the Orville, when it's just like, why? Why not? Why are you copying the show that was considered the Star Trek parody? Even though it's not really a parody, it's more like its own thing. It just has more humor. But that's the feeling I have with it. It's like, why are you adding like all this cringy Marvel humor to it all? It's just like up high, down low. Why did you do that? It's like the cringe is just overtaking me with its horrible humor. So I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just like it feels awkward and weird to me. But if people like it, it's fine. It's just like I'm still waiting for the Orville to come back. It's been like 5 years since like the last season, I think. Not okay, not that long, but like it's been like at least 3 to 4 years since the last season. I'm like, I'm still waiting for that to come back since it's still not technically canceled. So you know what? I'm waiting for that. And yeah, that's where I'm gonna get my Star Trek from.
Well, look, here's what I'll say. I really love this show. I actually haven't finished the previous season. I'm still on season 2. So that's why when I watched the trailer, I was really hoping they didn't spoil anything based on, whatever happens the rest of the way in season 2 that I haven't seen. I really like what's the name of the doctor, is the nurse? I forget the name of the nurse that, Spock and her like having a bit of a thing. Like that the chemistry there, and then in general, a lot of the other subplots in season 2 really stepped it up for me. So I personally really like it. And yeah, I mean, Star Trek has been hit or miss lately, like Monique said, and as is, Star Wars has been as well. In an era when we have so much content coming out at the same time, even back in the 90s when you had like 4 Star Trek shows on the air, people would say, yeah, you know what, not everything is good. Like Voyager could be good one week and not good the other week. Deep Space Nine might have a good season and then maybe a not such a good season. Even the Next Generation that didn't always hit its mark. So I think it's gonna be, it's gonna be it's kind of standard. It's gonna be common to see that. We see that in the MCU when you have so much coming out. It's like the DCU is not gonna hit with everything. They might go on a run, but then they might have something that's a bit mediocre. So like I know right now we're hoping that everything James Gunn does is amazing, but it happens with the franchise. Yeah, Enterprising, this version of Spock is definitely very fit. Although I will say pretty much everybody who's played the character has always been in really good shape. Yeah, JB saying supposedly Orville was starting production earlier this year. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, John. I don't know if you've seen the show yourself, but I highly encourage you if you haven't, because it might change your mind. I mean, some of you guys watching, enjoy it. I love it. I mean, it's got a really high Rotten Tomatoes score, 98% according to the Movie Web, and well, they definitely experiment with a lot of different things. Like they don't stick to just like formulaic storytelling. So you get that, and really, I think in a lot of ways, thematically, spiritually, it embraces what Star Trek has always been at its core, which is about exploration, without a lot of like war and stuff. And then you also get into like Captain Pike's background, and because we ultimately know where he's going to end up. So, that has been addressed, and they tackle it in ways which feels unique. It feels interesting, especially considering this show will probably go on for a little while longer. So, with that said, though, I mean, one of the other things was Pan Oswalt shows up in this trailer as a Vulcan, so that will be interesting. Pan Oswalt is going to be in the new series or new season of the show. I'm looking forward to that. And like Enterprising, look, I love Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. My mileage varies. I loved Enterprise. I thought it was very underrated it's like, the show that everybody loved to hate on when it was on, and now people are warming up to it. The Kirk era was its own thing, because like everything that started from Next Generation onwards was its own era. Kirk and then the movies that they did were kind of their own thing. Even then, the original series still stands apart as like very different, because obviously it was like much more pulpy, much more lower budget. But I mean, to see where we have come, how far we have come, and how far they've gone from the episodes where they were fighting a man in a dinosaur suit to what we get today. Some of the best VFX on television are in these Star Trek shows. So I really love to see that. As a fan of sci-fi, as a fan of Star Trek, I love it. And yeah, it's good to see Pan Oswalt working in, considering. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not easy to get back on your feet and have a yearning to do something again. So I'm really happy to see that. And he's a fan of the genre, so I'm really glad. I loved him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Pan Oswalt I think he was around for a couple of seasons. I loved him there. I can't, anytime he shows up anywhere, I loved him in Parks and Rec. Anything that he does, he's a national treasure. So I can't wait to see what he does here. And like I was saying at the beginning, guys, I mean, look, Strange New Worlds is now the flagship of the franchise since Discovery has, finished its run. So moving forward, it will be Starfleet Academy. the Section 31 movie, which wasn't really well received, so I don't know if that's going to go anywhere further. And then they have Lower Decks. So, you have a few things going on, and Star Trek is alive and well. So let us know in the comments down below what you thought about Strange New World Season 3 trailer. Are you going to be watching the show? Have you caught up to it? Did it put you off? Or are you more excited to see it? Let us know in the comments, and we'll keep an eye out on when the show comes out. Maybe we'll do reviews for it. Well, right now, let's switch our focus over to Superman, shall we? Because, well, we have a lot of Superman news today. We will save some of the bigger pieces for later, but what I want to get into first is all the different collaborations that Superman has been doing, all the different, brand marketing things, all the social media marketing, John. It's been a lot of viral marketing, and that's kind of been their approach. And one of the things that they have started off with is this, newsletter that they're doing on Instagram now. So you can sign up for the broadcast channel feature on Instagram, and essentially it's on the Superman account, but the newsletter, the broadcast channel is called the Daily Planet. And so they will put out like a one sheet of maybe like the front page of the Daily Planet, hypothetically speaking. And they put out this one. This was the second one that they put out, the making of our newest superhero. So you get a little bit more on, the origins of Superman, his powers, his purpose. Did you get a chance to go through this, John? Did any of it stick out to you, or did it give you any more information that you've
No, nothing like
before?
that. I think it's kind of cool. How we get a little bit more of the lore drops and the world building. I like that. But it's pretty run of the mill, but I like the marketing is going hard, and I think that's great.
Yeah, no, I mean it looks great because again, it's one of those things where if you are, not as familiar with the franchise, if you are a Superman fan but you're not very familiar with what's going on with this new movie, you sign up for this and you will get notifications, and they don't inundate you with stuff. So far, they've only put in 2 things, and this is the second of those. So it's really great. Like his purpose, if I had to make an educated guess, Superman has shown he wants to help humanity not just survive but thrive. This is written by Clark Kent, so a little bit meta, like almost as if Peter Parker was writing a feature on Spider-Man in the Daily Bugle. So and it's done from the perspective of Clark Kent. So again, it's kind of getting you into the mood for the movie. I wonder how Superman, got this photo, or like how Jimmy Olsen, it says there, got this photo. Jimmy Olsen must have a hookup, maybe Clark Kent is slipping him some photos. That's very interesting to see. Hugo Millie's in the chat by now. So hello, Hugo Millie. We got Ron in the chat. Man of Steel Magnolias is very excited for the new DCU. Yeah, I mean, guys, let us know in the comments what you think about this new newsletter. Have you signed up to it? Are you enjoying it too? Have you been receiving these updates? And in the meantime, of course, we're going to keep going here because we have a bunch more to get into, by the way. And before we do, though, like I said before, guys, hit that like button if you're here. We do appreciate that. One little click for you, it does a whole hell of a lot for us, and it brings in more people into the show. And we want to grow the community. We're seeing new faces each and every day. Now, speaking of new faces, of course, David Cornsweet is a bit new to the franchise, John. But well, he's been compared to Christopher Reeve quite a bit, and in that comparison, John, I came across this post. I'm trying to figure out where the text is, because there was a quote in here. So let me see if I can find it. But while I do that, John, basically the essential the post was talking about how David Cornsweet was asked the comparisons to Christopher Reeve, and what he said in response to that was, as humble as ever. And I just love that he's very aware of the fact that people will compare him to Christopher Reeve, but even then he's just he's happy to just play the part and be like, look, I'm doing my own thing, and I will honor whatever what we got before. And obviously the movie does a lot of that. What are your thoughts on again just the comments from David Cornsweet? You're muted.
I am muted. I am fucking muted. I think that's great. I think that's really the best way you can take it, because it's like, no matter what you say, you're gonna be what are you saying, David? What are you saying? Because it's like, the guy who first played the character on the big screen, the character that is considered the go-to in terms of this, the actor that's the go-to for this character for generations. So I think, like, obviously he's not gonna say That loser, fuck that shit. I'm gonna be better. What are you talking about? No Superman actor, except maybe Dean Cain, would ever say that. Like, come on, that's just ridiculous. So of course he's gonna be like, well, I mean, he's the classic one. I'm just another iteration, and that's really the best you can do, because you can't really say anything without looking like an ass. And so he's like, all right, yeah, I mean, I'm another guy to play this character. Will I live up to that? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, but we'll see come July, and like that kind of thing. And I appreciate that. So I think whatever you have to do to make that work, because I mean, to be fair, there are plenty of actors that are like, oh, wow, I'm the best person to play this character. But the thing is, every Superman actor has been like a very like at least like a decent human being. And again, except maybe Dean Cain, but like like outside of him, like they've all played this character
Yeah.
that like, and they've all been like decent people that live up to the idea of the character, just
yeah.
like Brandon Routh and Henry Cavill and Reeve and Reeves, because people forget Reeve and Reeves, two different people. This is Reeve, George Reeves with the S. That was dad bod Superman. We love dad bod Superman, just like we love dad bod Batman. Him and Adam West. Hell yeah. Dean Cain's kind of an asshole, but like I mean, he, from what I saw of like him on Lois and Clark, he's a good Superman, but he's just not a good person.
Well, but getting back to
we're here to talk about the greatness of this character, and I feel like we're gonna get greatness from Corn Sweat. I don't think we're never really gonna get the greatest Superman ever again from what Reeve did with the character. Even in the worst movies, he was not bad in them.
But I mean, again, the story is yet to be written, right? Like we haven't seen a single David Corn Sweat Superman movie yet. So
I know, but it's just like there's the idea of like, But I like how he
was the first, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be. It's that thing of when you grow, the Michael Keaton's Batman is always gonna be the first cinematic Batman. It's just nobody else can be the first. So for a lot of people who have grown up, even for that, some people might still prefer him to any other one, despite the fact that there's other Batman movies that have come out since that are much more highly rated and considered better films, and even with better actors doing a better job playing the characters. So like that's kind of it's hard. It's hard to do that. But what I appreciate about what David Corn Sweat said was like, hey, look, the way Christopher Reeve talked about it, like he went from theater and classical training to wearing tights on screen. It's there's a unique challenge to playing a guy who wears his underwear on the outside and can fly. I think I had a great fortune of getting a little bit of both. So he understands the core of what the character is about, and again has a similar attitude and approach to what Christopher Reeve did, which I think is exactly what we want to see. And I think even Henry Cavill made some similar comments back in the day, although his version of the character obviously went in a much darker direction. So at least in the beginning. But with that, hey, the movie is less than a month away, and James Gunn recently posted this message on HMW's Instagram. So if you're a fan of the brand in the UK, they now have a new logo, which you can see there a little bit, and it's got a crypto in the logo, so you can explore a lot of new Superman merchandise over at HMV. And of course, go see the movie on July 11th if you're in the UK. I love that they're doing again more collaborations. In addition to that, we saw a few other things. We've got a little group chat now on Instagram with those who are curious, and a number of you guys in there, and you guys send me this stuff. So I really appreciate it. It helps, make my job a little bit easier. Yeah, those are cufflinks. And so
I'm saying I like them. They look good.
They look amazing.
I'm not really a jewelry guy. I wear like a watch occasionally. Again, if I were to get any quote unquote jewelry, it would be, the Fossil Superman watch. I got to take out like a second mortgage, but I would get that thing. But because the thing is, I don't have any shirts that have like would require cufflinks. I'm just saying they look nice. I like the look of it, but I don't really wear like necklaces or earring. I don't have anything like. I'm not that type. I don't wear the bling, as the kiddos would say.
Hey, it looks like this one. A lot of this jewelry is not for men. This is more for mostly for women. But I mean, even then, yeah. I mean, you've got the stud sets, bold bracelets, iconic necklaces. So yeah, you've got plenty of stuff. A lot of jewelry options. It's gonna be probably a good chunk of change. But Ron, we did talk about the fossil watch. We've actually talked about it on several occasions. They do have quite a few different designs.
Since you were kind of away
Yeah.
for a bit, that might have been one of the episodes you
Was it
missed.
last Tuesday? Right, last Tuesday we did the
Something
marketing
around
tier
there. We did a
list.
tier list on it. We did
Yeah.
a separate story on it. So you might have missed it, which is okay, but we did
So
talk about it. I
yeah,
still
Ron, I
want
would
it.
say if you go back to last Tuesday's show, which I believe, what was the date on last Tuesday? It was June 3rd. You can see the June 3rd DCU Daily show. We did do a whole tier list of Superman marketing, and we, put Superman's fossil watches in there. So we've covered it quite a bit, but we will definitely get into it again if there's anything new on that front. But as far as something new, I mean, I saw this for the first time. Of course, these Superman toys are not from McFarlane, but they're from In Pursuit of Toys, a different brand. Actually, no, that's the account that's announced that's showing this. This is from Beast Kingdom. So you got a Crypto there, you got a Superman there. This is a prototype at a licensing expo in Vegas. So it looks like we'll be getting these eventually. But John, what are your thoughts on these? Again, we already have so many McFarlane toys and a lot of other ones, Funko Pops we've talked about, but this is from Beast Kingdom. Looks kind of similar. You got a little bit of Green Lantern in the background there. I don't know if that's meant to be official DCU designs or not, but what are your thoughts?
Looking good. Looking good.
Yep. Oh, we talked about the
The
Superman
face looks a little
Canadian.
weird.
It does. You know what? The lips look like they've got some makeup, and the eyes look like they've got mascara
It
on.
looks
Other
like
than
he looks like
that,
Tom Ellis from like Lucifer, where he's got a
yeah,
little bit of that.
yeah.
I can't
Not maybe
wear
the
my
best
eyeliner.
thing, but again, these are prototypes, so they might improve on it in the long run.
Yeah.
And Ron was telling us earlier he loves the Canadian popcorn bucket. I believe we got into that at some point. Did we talk about that?
We did. We did. I
Yeah,
was like, this is the out of all the popcorn buckets that we've quote unquote seen for Superman, that was
yeah.
the best one. We still haven't gotten ours yet. I hope it's not just the logo. That would just be so boring. And I mean, I would, even if it's terrible, I would get it anyway because I'm getting the Fantastic Four one. I gotta get the Superman one.
Yeah.
But it's just like, give us the Trunks bulge popcorn bucket. That's
I
what
was
we
like
all
saying that to
want.
somebody the other day. I'm like, that's what we need. I think I was telling Bridget this after the show yesterday. I was like, that's really what we want. That's what the people want. But it's probably too late for them to like do a whole production run on those, right? Like maybe for Superman 2, like, if there is a Superman 2 eventually. But I do like this progressive commercial. A lot of the same footage, but if you see the commercial, it's got that signature progressive humor, I suppose, with the Jamie character.
Humor.
Well, I'm okay with it. Like, not everything hits, but he's like, all right, I thought we were doing the cross arm pose. He's like, no, maybe just stick with the arms at your hip, kind of, or like, he never gets the memo. But yeah, I like it. Again, and more, collaborations. I guess people in Metropolis probably do have really high insurance premiums, considering there's kaijus running around that Superman has to save people from, and buildings getting knocked over. So yeah, but anyway. Oh, and Enterprising would like to see a custom red tux or suit with a yellow S on the back for a Superman premiere. You know what? That costume or that outfit would be amazing. That'd be perfect. Maybe one of the celebrities, one of the actors, I should say, in the movie, on the many stop, they're making like 7 or 8 stops on their Superman tour. They might do something similar to that on one of those stops. So we'll keep an eye out for that. All right. Well, the next thing from Superman, and again, we have a lot more Superman news coming up later in the show, but I wanted to kind of like wrap up the collaborations part of the show, because we are talking about all these different Superman, commercial integrations, whether it's toys or social media advertising. And now, of course, we've got the IMAX poster here. This originally, I believe, is in black and white, and somebody went in and colorized it. So you've got the picture there of Superman. You saw it on the thumbnail, like we have like the black and white or sepia version of this pose with Superman. John really loves this image, and you see it here colorized. And this is the IMAX poster. John, what are your thoughts on this? These are usually more creative than what you get from the standard posters.
I think this looks great. It's very simplistic. It just has him. I like the black and white image, but I also like this colorized image. I think they both really, really go hard. I like the vibe. I like the aura as the kids would say, Superman is aura farming right now. So it's looking great. Love to see it.
Yeah, I love it. I think we're gonna get, again, this, now we're in that territory where we're gonna get the Dolby Prime, the 4DX, and all the special formats. And obviously IMAX is always one of the special format posters that we look forward to. I love the simplicity of it. I love the fonts. I know this is a colorized version, but regardless of which one you get, I wonder which one we're gonna get when we go to the special Prime screening. So that will be something worth getting into. So with that, guys, let's keep the ball rolling here. But hey, let us know what you thought about all of that Superman collaborations, whether it's the Progressive commercial or it's the Alex and Ani jewelry stuff, the IMAX poster we have got now, more action figures on the way. Which was your favorite of the bunch? Because we probably will continue to get more of these and all the way until the movie comes out. So let us know in the comments down below what you think about them. We're gonna continue the show, but we'll get back to Superman in a little bit. So now let's get into our next thing, which is getting into all the millions of trailers that came out. And well, usually, we try to get in at least one trailer a day. It keeps a doctor away. But today we got not one, not two, but 3 trailers, John. So let's talk about it, shall we? The first one I want to get into is the Pickup trailer. This is a movie that's going to be coming out on Amazon Prime. Of course, Amazon Prime also had that Idris Elba and John Cena movie, right? Like with Priyanka Chopra, Jonas, like that other one. That was, but the one of them is the president of the United States. The other one's the president of the UK or the Prime Minister of the UK. But then we have this one where you got Eddie Murphy and Pete Davidson playing essentially armored truck drivers, and then Keke Palmer is involved, and it looks like they get kidnapped and coerced into a big heist. And also Eva Longoria is in this. So your thoughts on the trailer, John? The movie premieres on Prime Video on August 6th. It very much feels like a summer film movie. I wonder why they're not putting it out in theaters, but what did you think about the trailer?
It just looks like another shitty Pete Davidson comedy that unfortunately ropes in actually talented actors like Eddie Murphy, Eva Longoria, and Keke Palmer.
Okay. I, for one, really enjoyed the trailer. I had fun with it. I mean, and you know what? Some of the stuff with Pete Davidson I actually thought was funny. I wonder how good the movie will be. I do feel like, at least in the trailer, Eddie Murphy's sort of phoning it in. But
yeah, because he knows, he's like, all right, this shit's garbage. I'm gonna just, it's like the typical like gross like young guy and the old guy. Oh, I tore my meniscus. Oh, I'm so old. I don't get the words and reference. It's like you have that like typical like Gen Z humor, and it's like, oh, we did butt stuff. It's like, God, this is so. I love how it's like they're trying so hard to be like, oh, look how funny and adult we are, when it just comes off as like so juvenile, and it's just like, ugh.
They're
like,
armed, but
so
she's
cringy.
dangerous, like the log line and everything. It's definitely, got the feel of, you've seen this movie before in a movie theater, but now you're getting like another version of it that's maybe not as good on streaming, right? Like we got the John, what's the name of the John Krasinski movie that came out that I already forgot?
Count of Youth, and it was apparently like horrendously awful.
It was horrendously awful. It was exactly, what did I say? It was surprisingly mediocre, or it was something to that effect.
Well, I don't know. I never saw it. I just saw reviews, and it was
saw it, and I want my time back. I'm like, I'm never getting those 2 hours back.
That's a shame, because I'm like, I want a good like modern.
Me too.
Like,
dude, like Natalie Portman,
Mummy,
Domhnall Gleeson,
National Treasure, Indiana Jones movie, and we like haven't gotten
as much as anyone. I want to say, I want a National Treasure 3, and I want a good Indiana Jones movie. But Fountain of Youth was not it. Natalie Portman, Domhnall Gleeson, John Krasinski, everybody, and even Stanley Tucci for the one scene he was in there for, they all phoned it in. And Isa Gonzalez did most of them. Well, Isa Gonzalez did whatever she could with what she was given, and John Krasinski, like, not a good look for for a man who's trying to be a leading man in Hollywood. I guess he's more interested in directing movies, and this was just a good payday. But anyway, The Pickup comes out in August 6th, I believe. So yeah, hopefully you guys will let us know once you go see it, or pop it on your TV at home with Amazon Prime. But there is a movie that you can go see at the theaters this summer, John, and that is Eddington, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal. Of course, in the trailer, they're kind of feuding with each other a little bit. The trailer kicks off with like, you know, this whole like 6 feet back, please. I'm recording. And then like you see Pedro Pascal stepping forward into that, you know, social distancing zone. And so this is the kind of movie with, you know, Ari Aster trying to, I guess, give us nightmare flashbacks to the COVID era again. It's a Western. We have talked about it before. They had a presentation for it at CinemaCon. But you saw the trailer, John, and I want to get your take on it. Did you enjoy it? Do you feel like this is going to be a movie that's going to be worth the watch? Or is it going to be another one of those things where you're like, okay, Ari Aster, you could have done way better, or this is just too highfalutin and not a whole lot of substance?
I didn't expect much with this. I expected another pretentious artsy crap fest, which is exactly what Beau is Afraid was. And Beau is Afraid is a very, very, it's not only a terrible movie, it's a very problematic movie, and it showcases Astor's thoughts, like personal thoughts, and they're very toxic and terrible thoughts to have. And the fact that he's showcasing them at the forefront is like almost like devolved society like a couple steps backwards with how atrocious it was. Luckily, it was a bomb and like nobody remembers it now. But it just I'm watching this movie. I'm like, this is like devolving how far we've come in terms of mental health because Ari Aster's a fucking moron. So there's that. So ignoring all of that, ignoring that movie, because the thing is, Hereditary was a movie I liked a lot of aspects, but I also really didn't like a lot of aspects. I really liked Midsummer, and then Beau is Afraid is easily the second worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Then with this, I'm curious about it. Here's the thing: like on the one hand, I think this is a very intriguing concept, a very like over exaggerated look of how society was at the point of like COVID-19. I just think it's way too soon to be commenting on that time. It's only been 5 years. I think you probably should have waited at least a decade to like comment on those thoughts.
I mean, it does hit close to the best,
it's a
right?
little close, and I think
it's like you feel uncomfortable like watching it at some point.
I mean, that's what Ari Aster does
Yeah.
best. Like he makes his audience feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I like those aspects, and it definitely has like the us versus them mentality, like we all had during that time.
Yep.
How it damaged society to the point of like we haven't really gone back to those times beforehand. And I think Joaquin Phoenix is doing an okay job here. I just feel like he's just ever since Joker, he's just kind of playing the same role over and over again. A little bit like the quiet, shy, weird guy. Like, and it's just like you're a better actor than this. And I think I mean Pedro Pascal, I know people are sick of him, but like I'm intrigued with what he has to do here, and I'm intrigued with like because neo westerns intrigue me, like No Country for Old Men or Hell or High Water, like all that. I think and so with that, I think this as a movie intrigues me, and I'm cautiously optimistic that it will be at least a pretty good movie. I'm just like I just think it's a little bit too soon. I think some things in the trailer are a little wonky. I think Emma Stone, she's delivering a very weird performance. Like that's like again the weird kind of soft-spoken kind of like, oh, look how weird I am kind of thing. So I'm just curious how this will go. Like I'm not like, oh my god, this I'm like most anticipated of the year or anything like that. But as someone who really liked his second movie and really, really hated his third movie, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just kind of ignore what he's done in the past and just kind of look at this as a movie, and I'm intrigued with it. I am intrigued, and that's kind of it. That's all I can really say about that.
I mean, you know, it's Beau is Afraid was an unmitigated disaster. But we'll see if this one hits. Monique was asking, have you not seen Joe's Apartment? I don't know if you addressed that, John. Did I miss that part? Have you seen that movie?
Which one?
Joe's Apartment.
Never heard of it.
Well, Monique's suggesting maybe you should go check it out. And Steven, I should say, asking earlier, doesn't it remind you of 2020? Yeah, I mean, I think that was the idea, and it absolutely did.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
again, that's
exactly the
where
point.
it hits a little too close to home sometimes, and I guess again, that's what Ari Aster does. But hey, let us know, guys, what you thought about the Eddington trailer. The movie comes out later this year, of course. Given his track record, will it be a hit or a miss? You let us know in the comments. But right now, we have to talk about John Wick, because we have a new movie from the world of John Wick, as it's literally in the title, Ballerina. And that movie, it opened to 25 million domestic, and worldwide it opened to like a total of 51 million. So it's not terrible. It's somewhere in between what John Wick 1 and 2 did. John Wick 2, I think, did 30 million. So then, once you get to 3 and 4, you got to like past 50 million openings domestically. So it wasn't the worst opening of the franchise, but it was definitely middle of the road. It is a spin-off though. So you got to wonder, like, can this franchise support spin-offs beyond, John Wick being the lead character? And that's really what I wanted to kind of talk about today. There was an article on the Hollywood Reporter I saw yesterday, but we had so much going on in the show, I just wanted to save it for today, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, John, which is, well, we do have quite a few spin-offs in the works, or potentially in the works. We had that whole Kane spin-off, and like there's like a game and an animated movie and stuff. Like there's all these different things they announced at CinemaCon. But then even beyond that, people, I'm sure at Lionsgate wanted to see Ballerina do well enough. And again, it's still early. Let's not put Ballerina out to pasture yet. It's got great reviews, amazing audience reactions, and the movie kicked off to a decent number at the box office, but it does need to get to like 200 million to break even. So kicking off to 51 million worldwide and only 25 million domestic, which is 5 million off the projection. So it did open under what they were expecting. It makes you think maybe, like, that combined with how bad the Continental was in Peacock, which again, Chad Stahelski did say that they didn't really consider his or Keanu Reeves' opinion on it. So I guess you can blame that on why that was so bad. But all things considered, a movie that is as well received as Ballerina is not doing very well at the box office. Again, it might be leggy, so it might actually turn a profit. But John, let's get into the list of other potential spin-offs that they talk about here in the article, and then we can maybe discuss, hey, do any of these have a chance or a shot at making the kind of money that Ballerina hasn't been able to so far? And in the list, they start off with, the manager from the world of John Wick, the manager, with Halle Berry's character maybe coming back, her dogs. And do you think that could do well? Of course, the last time we saw her in the franchise was Chapter 3, so it's been a while, 2019. And any movie that she gets to take a part in, you might not, by the time it comes out, it might be 10 years from 2019, it might be 2029. So do you think the character of Sophia Al-Azwar that was introduced, as a manager of the Continental Hotel in Casablanca, could that be a good spin-off? Like, would Halle Berry be able to make more money at the box office than maybe, Ana de Armas has been able to?
It's entirely possible, but I can't see this working. I don't know what the hell it would even be about. It's entirely possible. Maybe like, honestly, I could see, like, I could maybe see it like, oh, something happens like in the Continental and she has to take care of it. Like something like kind of like what happens at the end of John Wick 2 into 3, where like they break the rules on the grounds of her Continental and she has to take care of it. Like, and for some reason it's personal. She has to like take care of it personally, and hence why it's about her. So I can see that.
Yeah, I think she's still a box office attraction, and
Well,
so
she's definitely an attraction.
okay, John. But yeah, I would imagine that a well-written movie could do well. Again, here's the thing about the John Wick franchise in general. I think whether it is that or or a movie on the Bowery King with maybe Lawrence Fishburne's character, maybe it could be a prequel, or maybe where he is now. These are all meant to be like, character focused movies. And obviously, the actors matter here. Like back in the day, these would be vehicles for all these different stars, whether it's, Lawrence Fishburne or Halle Berry, and obviously Keanu Reeves. But even then, none of the John Wick movies have been like billion-dollar movies. The fourth one was the highest grossing, and even that didn't get to like 750 or 800 million some odd numbers, right? So overall, these movies make money, but they don't make, eye-watering amounts of money. So I don't think any of the sequels or any of the spin-offs would do all that well. But yeah, it's interesting that they do have plans to expand the universe. I just think they need to keep the budgets limited, right? Like you got to make these movies with like 40-50 million dollar budgets. Like it cost them 90 million to make Ballerina. I think that was way too much money.
That was because the thing is, remember, that's a mid-budget movie now. Mid-budget movies are like non-existent. For some reason, you would think that mid-budget movies can make their money back, but it's like, nope, not even for a franchise like John Wick. Like it's either you got to have dirt cheap, like many horror movies, or it has to be like multi-million. But I don't think John Wick can even reach multi-million because it's not an illustrious as a franchise like Marvel or DC or anything like that. Hell, even technically illustrious franchises like Indiana Jones were never big money makers way back when. They're great movies, but never huge money makers.
Yeah.
So with that, I think I would love to see a Bowery King movie. I think the High Table, whatever this would be about, would be
I
great.
guess maybe they can go back in time, like when they was first established, or maybe like because the High Table is gone now, right? Like that's what basically the John Wick 4 is about. So
it would be a prequel. But I think that could be really cool. I like more Donnie Yen is always a good thing. Like, give me more of him as like essentially like he's like essentially Daredevil. Like, I mean, I know that's like not really, but like essentially he's,
Well, that's why I think that
kind of like Daredevil.
Movie, like I love the idea of that because I think that could really, really work well, especially with the international audiences. And I also think the Mr. Nobody one potentially could be the best option here of the bunch because Shamir Anderson, I think, was one of the standouts of the highest grossing movie in the franchise, John Wick 4, which made almost $500 million. So yeah, of course, you don't want to confuse it with Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk franchise. But from the world of John Wick, Mr. Nobody could work really well. The other thing that I think, this article doesn't really get into because every movie they're pitching here is essentially based around a character. I don't know if that's the best approach considering what Ballerina is doing, right? Like the High Table is maybe a set of
go
characters.
back up to Bowery King.
Yeah.
I would say don't make it about Bowery King, make it about the soup kitchen. Like obviously don't call it the soup kitchen because like people will think it's like about an actual soup kitchen. But like make sure it's like about the network, not just Lawrence Fisher. Maybe Lawrence Fishburne can be the protagonist, but like make sure it's like either an ensemble piece or like something, about that, because it's like that would be more interesting because I feel like just having it be about a character, especially in this world, it just doesn't make sense because it's just going to be another Ballerina where it's like it's a very simple. Here's the thing. If you have like Ballerina worked, but I feel like if you do something like that again, it's not going to work because even towards the end of that movie, it got a little bit tired, like a little bit.
It's kind of like the Transformers problem where like after you've been watching action on action on action on action, you get to a point where it just becomes too much action,
exactly, because it was just like I'm kind of reaching the point where I'm like let's wrap this up. Play the music, and the orchestral score starts to play.
I don't know if I would blame like badly written female-led movies for it, The Watcher. Maybe it was a part of it, but I certainly don't think that's the main reason why. And again, let's not write the obituary for Ballerina just yet. It's only been out in the movie theater for one weekend. It's not even been there for like a total of 10 days. So I mean, but like Enterprising is saying, the whole underworld of the John Wick universe is really what's unique about it. And I think the best thing they can do, as opposed to focusing on individual character movies like a Ballerina movie or a Bowery King movie or The Manager, like let's do movies which are in the world and maybe one of these characters is the lead, or maybe you see a new character with like other familiar characters as supporting cast, which I guess what Ballerina is anyway. But the biggest thing is none of these movies, I don't think, unless it's a breakout hit, like Donnie Yen got a huge audience, so maybe his movie will do better. None of these movies can be like $150 million films. Like they spent a lot of money like going out there and shooting all the additional stuff and bringing in more John Wick and Keanu Reeves, into the movie. and it cost them 90 million. I think this movie would have been much better if it was budgeted for just 50 to 60 million at most. That's
Exactly.
the number they gotta go for. So
I agree.
yeah, I think with that, like, we'll leave it there for now, guys, but let us know what you think about all the different ideas for John Wick, sequels and spin-offs and prequels. Do you think any of those ideas that the Hollywood Reporter article talked about would work? Will they work any better than Ballerina, which is off to a somewhat, less than stellar start, but maybe still can make a lot of money. So who knows? But Ballerina is the first big cinematic spinoff. Maybe they'll do other ones. And, Halle Berry, Lawrence Fishburne, Dev Shamir Anderson, so many, fantastic actors who have played iconic characters. Maybe even a younger Ian McShane, Continental Manager in New York movie, which I guess the Continental was a little bit about that anyway. But let us know what you would like to see next from the world of the John Wick, because Lionsgate certainly is trying to figure that out. So you guys can let us know in the comments, and then we'll discuss it later in the Q&A on every Friday as we do usually. So next up, John, we got to get into something that I think you are going to have a lot of fun talking about, because The Incredibles are getting, of course, a threequel, which is not the news because we knew that for a little while. They announced it at, I think it was D23. But the news today is that we're getting a different director in the director's chair for the first time in the history of the franchise. Of course, the first two movies were directed by Brad Bird, but while Brad Bird will continue to write the movie and be a producer, he's not directing The Incredibles 3. Instead, we're getting Elemental director Peter Sohn in the director's chair, John. So from Disney and Pixar, The Incredibles 3, which is, at a time when we're getting a Marvel Fantastic Four movie, which looks kind of like, The Incredibles, and there's a lot of meta connections there. How excited are you for The Incredibles 3, and are you worried, or are you now more excited seeing that Peter Sohn will be directing it, who directed a pretty damn good Elemental film, but of course Brad Bird has been, at the helm for the last two, and while he's writing the script, he's not directing.
I'm just going to say this. I freaking called it. I knew Brad Bird would never direct this movie, since he essentially left Pixar to follow John Lasseter to Skydance, because that's where he's making his Ray Gun movie that he's been trying to make for the last 20 years. So, I knew he was not directing this. Now, considering Elemental was this sleeper hit, I don't know if he's the right choice. I think the director, the up and comer director of Inside Out 2 would be a much better choice. I mean, I am one of the few people that actually really liked Incredibles 2. I know not a lot of people like that movie, but I really liked it. I think the villain wasn't as good, and it could have been tweaked to make it a little bit better. But for the most part, I thought it was a great movie, and maybe not worth 15 years of waiting, but I still really liked it. And I mean, nothing's going to touch the first Incredibles. That was just such a great movie. The threequel is never going to be as good. I mean, the sequel was not as good either. But I really liked how I really liked the ideas presented in that, and I hope that we kind of continue on. I think Brad Bird is still writing it, but he's obviously not directing it. So I just hope it's a good movie. That's essentially it. I just hope it's good. Pixar has been honestly mostly misses at this point. Outside of Soul, which nobody really remembers anyway. Everyone was that was the movie everybody was talking about for 6 months, and then nobody talked about it ever again after that. And then Inside Out 2, which people still maybe kind of sort of talk about. It's just it feels like ever since Lasseter left, well, not left, sorry, was fired, unjustly fired, by the way. I feel like they just haven't been hitting. Even some of their better movies, they just haven't been hitting. It's just, I think the last thing he did was probably Incredibles 2, ironically. So I just, Pixar has just been kind of not in a great place. So I just hope it's a good movie. That's all it is. I think Peter Sohn, from what I've heard of Elemental, it's a pretty good movie. But I just I don't know. I saw Lightyear. I think the only one I saw was Lightyear and Inside Out 2. And Lightyear was a major disappointment, and then Inside Out 2 was very well done, but we'll see if it gets remembered like many years from now, but it's been like 4 years since Soul and nobody talks about that movie anymore. So I just hope that, you know, I'm more excited for Brad Bird's directing projects than I am with Incredibles 3 at this point.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, as far as Brad Bird not being at the helm, he's doing two or three other movies. The man's got plenty going on. So I don't think it's a surprise that he's not there to direct, because as a director, he would be involved in this for a lot longer than if he's just writing the script and just being an executive producer. So yeah. And with Lilo and Stitch dominating, maybe family films would go back to being great, says Monique. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they stopped being great. It's just we've had a few misses. But The Incredibles, you know, the original movie, of course, is an all-time classic, and nobody can take that away. Like the whole, you know, when everybody's super, no one will be. Like, it's just, we quote the original Incredibles movie to this day. And then when the second one came out, which quite frankly, it took way too long to make, I don't think it beat the first one. I don't think it comes close to how good the first one was or how classic the first one is. But I also remember seeing it growing up. So like, you know, it's like how when you saw it and how much of an impression it left on you. But between the two Incredibles movies, Brad Bird has done a fantastic job. And with the third one, Peter Sohn, if it's not Brad Bird, then Peter Sohn is about as good of an option as you possibly can get, because Elemental, it started off slow, but like Enterprising was saying, it ended up, you know, being really, really good by the end. And especially when it hit Disney Plus, and it, you know, it ended up doing quite well. So ultimately, as long as they, you know, have a good story and they still have Brad Bird writing the script, and I'm sure he'll be involved, you know, in consulting on the movie. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how good it all turns out. But I have faith in the team over at Pixar. They don't miss very often, and The Incredibles, like the Watcher was saying earlier in the chat, is one of their big, you know, key franchises, so they can't afford to miss the mark on it anyway. So like, hopefully that will lead to a better product, because the pressure is going to be there. They'll have the budget, and hopefully they'll deliver. Let us know in the chat if you're watching live, or of course in the comments down below, what you think about The Incredibles 3 being directed by Peter Sohn, while Brad Bird, the director of the first two movies, is still writing the movie and producing it. He's not going to be at the helm. So let us know if you're still looking forward to it, and maybe even what you expect it to do. Like, will it be a super, you know, duper big billion-dollar hit like the last two were? And let us know in the comments down below. And with that, John, we now have to switch our focus. Of course, let me grab that little graphic here. Of course, that's my name. But we have to get into quick hits, because today's quick hits, well, there's a lot to talk about, as always, and we're going to get into it. We're going to do it a little bit faster than we do the usual news. So, John, here's the music, and let's dive into it, shall we? The very first quick hit, there's a new Megan 2.0 popcorn bucket, and we've got a preview from Cinemark. What do you think about it?
Stupid. Fuck Megan 2.
I don't know how much popcorn that holds. Imagine if I got a large, like that doesn't have a lot of room for my popcorn. I also don't know how it opens. Do you like move her head? I don't know. It's a little weird. I'm not the biggest fan of that. If you guys are watching live, we will get into the DC news after this. But yeah, the quick hits, they're always fun. And My Dream in Orbit is joining us now in the chat as well. Hello, how are you doing today? Let's keep the ball rolling here, shall we? The next quick hit we're gonna get into is How to Train Your Dragon. Of course, it's coming out this week, later in the week, in the US and most parts of the world, but it's already dropped early on in a few other parts of the world, like Korea, where it soared to the very top of the box office. How to Train Your Dragon did. The June 6 to 8 weekend, it overtook the local hit movie High Five, which had dethroned Mission Impossible a couple of weeks ago from its top spot. So now How to Train Your Dragon takes the top spot. It opened to $4 million, which is a pretty high mark, accounting for 35.6% of the market with the number of screens it's playing on and the amount of money it's bringing in, John. That's a pretty good number for Korea. Are you surprised? And do you think this trend will follow with all the other markets that's set to drop in later this week?
I think that's pretty good. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't really care about the live action remakes. I've heard pretty mixed to negative things about it. So
Caleb in the chat. Hello.
Yeah.
Honka honka.
I agree, Caleb.
Yeah.
I agree, Caleb.
But I mean, look, here's the thing. There's always going to be room for movies like this. Well, not like this, but like Megan. But then How to Train Your Dragon looks like one of the best live action adaptations ever made. and that seems to be the consensus among a lot of the critics as well. So I'm looking forward to it. It comes out in a few days. I almost saw it early last week, but then I had to sacrifice that to, be on the show. But hey, what? We do it
like
for you
guilt
guys.
tripping me constantly.
You know what? It's just I was disappointed. I had free passes anyway. The movie has a Rotten Tomatoes score, John. It started off to an 84%. I don't know if the score has changed since then, but with 49 reviews, it was sitting at an 84% when I checked earlier today. Are you surprised it's as high as it is? Because the early reactions were pretty positive, so 84% isn't all that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna see it. It just looks boring to me.
I think that's a good number because when you compare that to The Materialist, the new Celine Song movie starring Pedro Pascal, Dakota Johnson, and Chris Evans, that's got 89% with 19 reviews. That's where it started off. Again, that number might have changed now with more reviews depending on when you're watching the show. But that's not a bad start at all. And her first movie was fantastic. So this one looking like it's following the same trajectory. So what did John do then? Oh no, it was John and Liz were doing a show, and I had to kind of like get the show set up. So because I was setting up the show, I missed my chance to go see How to Train Your Dragon. But it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just I got tied up with other work, so I could have set up the show earlier. So I'm just kind of still like whining about the fact that I didn't get to see it last week, but I'll get to see it this week. But yeah, Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, Chris Evans, The Materialist looks fantastic. It's counter-programming How to Train Your Dragon this weekend. I'm excited to see it, and I will probably get a chance to see it, so we'll see how it turns out. In the meantime, Michaela Hoover on her social media, especially on Threads, she was overwhelmed with gratitude for all the love and support and kindness she has received the last few days about the new Chopper character in the brand new season of One Piece. She said, "This little guy is so incredibly special to me. Performing the face capture and voice for him has been an honor. I can't wait for you all to see what's coming." John, your thoughts on Michaela Hoover's Chopper? I know we talked about this before. What are your thoughts on the character? What are your thoughts on Michaela Hoover? And again, the fans, giving a really positive reception to the character.
I mean, it was the fact that like One Piece got a live action Netflix adaptation and it wasn't like the most hated thing in the universe is like honestly an achievement. Like I heard it was like, it was okay, it was like pretty good. So like, I've heard nothing but from One Piece fans that this was a great this was a great adaptation of the character. They're excited to see them as Chopper. Excited to see Chopper in season 2. So yeah, I think good for, I'm happy for One Piece fans. I'm happy for Michaela Hoover. I'm happy for all the people that are excited about this show coming out with season 2. So awesome, great.
Of course, a lot of you guys in the chat just fawning over Michaela Hoover, which understandable. So yeah, definitely understand the sentiment there. But yeah, Chopper, get to the chopper, as my dream in orbit says. The character is gonna have obviously a big reception when the show starts up because One Piece has got a huge following, and Michaela Hoover playing the character, I'm sure, is gonna be a big part of the show this upcoming season. It's an achievement, says Enterprising. There you go. Nico saying, people aren't sick and tired of Pedro Pascal yet. No, I don't think so. Clearly he's still getting a lot of roles. The Materialist, Fantastic Four, 2 Avengers movies, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. Pedro Pascal is just fine. And Chris Evans and Dakota Johnson aren't all that bad in their own right. But yeah, the OG creator Enterprising saying being a part of the show is a big help. Absolutely it is. I agree. Well, moving on to the next thing. John, I believe we covered this a while ago. There was a strike going on with SAG-AFTRA, a video game strike. And recently, it turns out that SAG-AFTRA has reached a tentative contract deal with the video game companies after going on strike for nearly a year. Performers have been withholding their services from major firms like Activision, EA, Electronic Arts that is, and Insomniac Games since July 2024. You saw this news. It looks like the end is finally in sight after a year. They've been bringing in replacement talent, but I guess finally we'll get to see the folks who deserve to be and have worked hard to work to be a part of these video games, finally, getting back in the voice booths and stuff. What do you think about overall this whole strike? Again, the video game industry being the latest to be affected by strikes.
I mean, yeah, honestly, no, just keep those strikes going. Just like keep them going until like no AAA games can be made, and then maybe the video game industry will finally heal. So just keep them going. Keep them going. Just nobody needs to work for these assholes. Just boom, keep that going.
All right.
Keep it going, because fuck the video game industry. Honestly, just like nuke Nintendo. I would say do that. Just like, and then like nature will heal. Nuke Activision, nuke Electronic Arts, except for the Sims division, and then nuke Nintendo, and then like and Ubisoft, and then boom, we should be good to go.
I wish I had the soundbite of Michael Caine saying, "Some men want to watch."
I want to watch the world get nuked with these atrocious companies that deserve it.
Well, hey, John, it is the same world you live in, so I don't know what that says about your desire for life. But anyway, Kendrick Lamar was the top winner at the 2025 BET Awards. It was happening, the show was happening live as we were doing the show here yesterday, so we didn't really have a chance to talk about it, but now we have the results. SZA, Chris Brown, Doechii, Denzel Washington, Cynthia Erivo also earned awards at the Monday night ceremony in Los Angeles. Of course, you see there Kendrick Lamar accepting his award, one of several. And then we had the Jamie Foxx speech, which I saw online, which was it was emotional. He was thanking God for giving him a second chance after the health scare. And I really appreciated seeing that clip on social media. His whole family was there. He got the Ultimate Icon Award. And then we, of course, also got the news that Snoop Dogg, well, actually, you know what? We're going to get into that in a second. These are just photos from the red carpet. You have Snoop Dogg out there looking snazzy. Of course, Keke Palmer. She's got that new movie, The Pickup, coming out on Amazon Prime. She looks great. You've got Doechii there as well. Or Andra Day, that is, actually. Sorry, I'm mixing up my stars. Then you have Tyler Perry. He looked snazzy as always. He had a really cool speech. There's Doechii right there. Or is it Doechii? I don't know if I'm saying her name wrong. This is me, being a millennial. But anyway, Doechii did pick up an award, and then she gave a speech calling out, the events that are happening in LA right now, which seems to be getting worse. But John, what are your thoughts overall on the situation? Well, I guess not the situation in LA, but what are your thoughts overall on the BET Awards?
I think like I'm white. I don't fucking care. I'm sorry. Like, they're all talented
you literally
people.
did this exact same thing the last time we did something like this, and you're like,
I'm sorry.
Like,
I don't care. Like, Kendrick Lamar, I respect the artists. I respect all these people that are so talented. It's just like,
I'm getting so much deja vu right now. It's crazy.
I don't care. I'm sorry. Especially when it's like Chris Brown. Fuck that guy. How the fuck does that dude still have a career? How is he at an award show? How is that dude not been like shot in the head on the street? Because he deserves it. And like, why? How? But like, cool, I guess. I'm happy for Kendrick Lamar. Way to go, man. I don't really listen to rap, but I know he's like one of the greats. So good for him.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't really care about award show either. So like, I don't even care about the Oscars, and I love movies. So like, yeah.
Fair enough. All right, moving on to the next thing. Speaking of Snoop Dogg, I think one of you guys brought it up earlier. I think Steven Ortega mentioned this was one of the stories he wanted us to talk about. Well, here we are. But before we get to it, Swag Fan saying he's happy for Kendrick Lamar, but 8 haven't watched BET Awards in years. Yeah. I mean, look, not everybody watches it. I caught a lot of it on social media just after the fact. So I just wanted to talk about some of the highlights. But hey, Outer Banks actor Jonathan Davis is set to star as Snoop Dogg in Universal biopic. Craig Brewer is helming the feature project that focuses on the life of the hip-hop icon. Snoop Dogg is always doing side quests, but I wonder how many of those will end up in this movie, John. You've got the actor who's going to be playing Snoop Dogg. What do you think? Is there a likeness there?
I can kind of see
Jonathan
it.
Davis.
He's definitely got the smirk down. I will say that. But yeah, here's the thing. I will say, music biopics. There's like 1 out of 10 are actually
a fan
good.
Of Snoop Dogg.
But like, the man is such a cultural, like, he's like breached his like music icon status, just being like a cultural icon at this point. So I mean, I'm curious how they'll go about that, but like music biopics are like a dime a dozen. They just like, you get like really amazing ones like Rocket Man, but then you get really like not even like garbage, just like mediocre drivel that don't live up to the greatness of the people they're talking about. Like Bob Marley, One Love, I'd Like to Dance with, or I Like to Dance with Somebody. That's the one that came out a couple years ago. And like Bohemian Rhapsody, like just none of these are just, they don't hit those strides of the artists they're talking about, and they're just not good. So like, I hope this is a good one. Like I hope the Kiss one is good. I hope the Beatles one is good. All four of them. So like, I just, I want it to be good.
Yeah.
I'm like iffy on the whole thing. I think music biopics just need to take a break for like fucking 20
it's
years.
The thing where Hollywood
then,
is like, there's a pre-built audience there, right? So the same thing with video game adaptations. They want to do anything that has IP potential. Like, I bet you this will do well because it's Snoop Dogg, and he's going to be part of the promotions probably. I wonder how much he's going to be involved, and maybe if he's producing or not. But I can't wait to see what it turns into. I guess Snoop Dogg is one of the producers, along with Brian Grazer and Death Row Pictures president Sarah Ramacher. So yeah, it looks interesting. I can't wait to see what it turns into. Outer Banks is not my cup of tea, but let's see if Jonathan Davis can pull this off. We've got a Bruce Springsteen biopic coming up as well, like Caleb mentioned. A lot of big ones coming up. But hey, you know what, Steven? We have got the other story that you mentioned, which is Xbox Ally and Ally X, Microsoft's first handheld console, levels up mobile gaming. John, you saw this, I'm sure. You got a bit of Republic of Gaming, the ROG screen there in the middle. Of course, it looks like an Xbox controller, but I don't know. Is this just needed, necessary? Like, the PSP isn't a thing anymore, like PlayStation Portable. So do we really need a portable Xbox? Like, they finally jumped into this market.
I mean, ever since the Steam Deck came out, everyone's trying to copy that. So like, yeah. I mean, sure, why not? Go for it if it makes you happy, but like, I don't know if this will make money.
Yeah, it's exactly. Nintendo and Sony did this so many years ago. Xbox is a little bit late to the party, so yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see if it ends up being any good, and what kind of games you can play on it. If it can just remote into like the proper Xbox. But Mortal Kombat 2 test screenings reactions are out, and they're comparing to Avengers Endgame. So much funnier and bigger. I don't know if that was facetious or not, John, but we've got some reactions here. One reaction says, I was adamant that we had to have this tournament in the movie. We can't make people wait another movie and be like, come back for the finale. This, I believe, is the director of the movie. Was it? Yeah, Slater. Your thoughts on the test screening reactions being very strong, according to Jeremy Slater?
I hope it's good. I heard the first movie was pretty bad, so I hope this one's much better.
All right, cool. Enterprising, like, ugh. Okay. I am Johnny Cage. Well, we are getting Johnny Cage in the new movie. Dan and John, is this Xbox handheld device a problem for Nintendo? No, Steven, it's not a problem for Nintendo. Nintendo Switch has its audience, very loyal to Nintendo. I don't think Xbox is getting in. They're not even gonna pull
I
from
hope
Steam Deck.
Like they destroy Nintendo because Nintendo, but like,
yeah,
yeah.
The first movie was very up and down, but I still enjoyed the action. So hopefully,
hey, you know what? As long as Mortal Kombat 2 is better than Annihilation, they should be okay.
Exactly. Well, you know what? The Fantastic Four First Steps apparently is inspired by Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, according to producer Grant Curtis. One of the beauties of that, and that I see in Matt Shackman, is Sam always went back to the source material and said, there's a reason why Peter Parker and Spider-Man has been so popular for so long, and we have nothing to do with the 50 plus years at that time. And Matt always looked at it the same way. There's a reason this IP has been popular for 60 years. Let's embrace it. Let's not run from it. Let's challenge our screenwriters to tell the coolest galactic story. So apparently Matt Shackman took a lot of inspiration from Sam Raimi and his approach to Spider-Man. John, are you surprised? Impressed?
No, I mean, that's classic Marvel. Will it be as good? No, but like it's got good inspiration, so I'll give it that. But like, hey, you know, you've had some great inspiration and gotten bad movies, bad inspiration, great movies. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, it's gonna ultimately have to stand on its own. You can't just say, oh, we took the inspiration from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, but we'll see how good Fantastic Four is when it comes out. But hey, John, they do have some new boots, and I guess those are slippers for Fantastic Four. So you can get your hands on one of these. They look pretty cool to me. I mean, if you want to wear those boots to bed, or I don't know, the slippers look kind of nice. What are your thoughts on Fantastic Four merchandise?
Those are fucking ugly as shit. And I'm saying that as someone who had SpongeBob slippers for years. So like, and I had the Hulk hands as well, but those are ugly. Yeah,
I can see myself wearing those around the house. It's fine. But you know what? They do have a lot of other brand integrations, as they call them in the marketing world. Fantastic Four on cereal boxes, Snapple, Pop-Tarts, Trix, which is I guess more cereal. Your thoughts on all of this different marketing? I mean, we get into all the Superman stuff all the time, but you got some Fantastic Four stuff here too. Special Fantastic Four flavor of Pop-Tarts as well. What are your thoughts?
Looking good. I honestly like the classic Trix box, like and like that vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll try. I mean, I'm a whore for Pop-Tarts. I'll probably try. I mean, hopefully.
I was gonna say that's my favorite thing too, because I love Pop-Tarts. So
I love Pop-Tarts. I mean, I still remember that one time where I was like, "Hey Dan," we were backstage, we were starting a show, and I'm like, "Hey Dan, I got cookies and cream Pop-Tarts, and they're delicious." And you just quietly just like grabbed it and just like held it up. And I'm just like, dang. Okay.
Yeah, because I was literally eating the cookies and cream.
Literally eating the Pop-Tart. I'm I think it's blue raspberry though. That's probably
I've never tried that flavor. I don't know.
That's probably gonna taste awful, but like I'm curious, and I plan to get it if it's available, because I mean I've seen all the posts about it.
Right.
I plan to get a Superman Blizzard tomorrow.
Dude,
I'll let you know my thoughts.
Give me your review, because I need to get me some, and there's like 2 DQs near me. But I would love to hear from you before I go and do that. Yeah, I mean, but like one of you guys were saying, there's definitely a lot more of this going on with Superman, a lot more brand integrations and product placement. So it's good, but you know, I think Superman is becoming more of an event movie because of the way they've gone about marketing it. But I love the comment from Jack Shepard there. I love consumerism. Exactly. Well, speaking of consumerism, Doctor Who may not be there for us to consume no more, because I don't know if you're getting a 3rd season, even if Billy Piper is going to be the new Doctor. But the last Doctor now, he's in the past, Ncuti Gatwa. Apparently there was a different ending to his season 2, but once they kind of knew that he was departing as a Doctor, they changed up the finale plans. So I guess the original ending, I don't know if it was ever shot or not, but they did do reshoots.
No, I don't think so.
There you go, John. What are your thoughts on this? I know you kind of called it, but go off.
Yeah, I just leave quick. I heard about the original ending, and apparently it was like, because what happened was the 2-parter that ended the series was apparently atrociously awful and ended what was essentially a great season on a whimper instead of a bang. And I've heard that the original ending was even worse. So maybe it's good that Gatwa departed when he did, because that's not great. But obviously we'll see if this gets renewed at all. So
yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but I'm just looking at my messages here, by the way, because Hosea is sending me some Superman related stuff. We'll get into that in a little bit, but no, it's a disappointing that he's only been the Doctor for 2 seasons and that's it. Like, that's all we're gonna get. Like, I wish we were gonna get more from him, because I really was excited for him once we knew that he was gonna be the next Doctor. So yeah, I guess 2 seasons is all we got out of it. For the first Black Doctor that did him a disservice, says Enterprising. I pretty much I agree with that. I definitely do.
Technically, he's not the first because the Fugitive Doctor is technically the first, but he was the first numbered incarnation. But I'm just being technical.
I'm trying to find. I'm kind of sorry. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to get this link. You guys gotta like. I appreciate the DMs, but I have to kind of translate the link into our system, which takes a second here. But I mean, Swagman never got into Doctor Who, so I mean, well, you can get into it now because there's a lot of it out there.
Just like watch all the classic episodes are free on Tubi. Just stick with that at this point.
Yep. Well, with that, I think that brings us to the end of the quick hits. So we're gonna move on from that. Let's tomato. Thank you. We're gonna hit that music and turn it off because that's all the quickest we've got for you guys. So let us know in the comments down below. But what was your favorite part? Was it the Sam Raimi influence in the new Fantastic Four movie, supposedly, with Matt Shackman going in that route? Was it all the Rotten Tomato scores for How to Train Your Dragon and The Materialist? Or was it the BET Awards? Of course, we also talked about Doctor Who and Snoop Dogg getting his own biopic. So let us know in the comments what you thought about all of that. And we're not done yet, but of course, we do appreciate it if you hit the like button if you're watching live or if you're watching after the fact. And with that, guys, we're going to pivot over to the main event of the show as we always do, which is the reason why a lot of you guys are here. So let's get into it, shall we? Because it's now time. It's DC time. Welcome on into another episode of DCU Daily. As always, we're going to inundate you with a lot of Superman stuff, but there is a little bit of stuff, from Clayface and some of the other upcoming projects. We do have some Wonder Woman news potentially to get into. But John, what of the many things we're going to talk about today are you most excited about?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I'm excited to talk about. Obviously, I'm excited to talk about like Wonder Woman stuff a little bit. There's not much to talk about, but like it's exciting, and I want to get into certain somebody's super chat because I have a lot to say about that. But I'm excited. I will say I'm excited to talk about Wonder Woman. So, but obviously we have plenty of this to get into first, which is always exciting.
And you know what? Yeah, we did not forget your super chat, Just Some Geeky Guy, and we really appreciate it. So we will definitely get into that. I don't know if I even said hello to Just Some Geeky Guy in the chat. Let me see if I can say that right now.
It's
hello
fine.
to everybody watching. But it's time for DC, so let's dive into it, shall we? We have a number of things to get into. The first of which is actually from one of you guys who sent it to me. I'm forgetting who sent it. Totally take credit for it in the chat, if you will. But you sent me, just while we were doing the quick hits, a link to a new Good Luck With That 15-second ad spot for Superman that they just put out a couple of hours ago. And John, it looks pretty fantastic. This one has a new line. It's like the lines Good Luck With That is from David Cornsweat's Superman. It's from the shot that we have right there. It's the image that we have from Entertainment Weekly today. He's standing on some kind of metallic, futuristic.
It looks like in the metahuman prison, if I were to take a guess.
It's either that or I'm like, is this a Brainiac reference? But I don't know. But I mean, I don't think they're gonna give us anything like that away because there are rumors that maybe we'll get Brainiac. But it's interesting. And so that Good Luck With That line comes from David Cornsweat. One hero is built different, which again leans into the idea that you have a lot of corporate superheroes, whereas Superman is sort of just doing his own thing. You get more, playing around with Crypto in the Fortress, and Crypto just being, maybe not such a good boy. And then later on, we get Mr. Terrific on his jetpack saying something about Crypto the dog.
That dog, man.
There's that.
What are you talking
those photos
about?
are peak. We're gonna get into that, Watcher. I don't know if you guys are talking about blue eyes. Okay, but Nico saying that shot is maybe from the prison. We get a little bit more of a peek. I mean, this is the same shot of the engineer fighting Crypto, and Crypto fighting back. Of course, we get a shot of Superman with that fight against the kaiju monster. So yeah, it's a pocket dimension, like Watcher was saying, like what you were saying, John. So that's probably what that shot is. Yeah, that's an interesting ad spot. But then Hosea, who's I think watching live, he literally a few seconds ago sent me this, which is a supercut of a lot of these new ad spots. So we're seeing some of the same footage, but also some of the new footage. This is the ad spot we just talked about. ad spot 1, and then in the second one, it's the holy shit ad spot, I guess, where you're getting some more more of a look at that crypto sequence, which we got in the crypto extended sneak peek after CinemaCon. You're getting the Guy Gardner shot.
This right here, this peak Guy Gardner. I fucking love it. This is perfection right here. This is brilliant. This right here. It was like, who is Guy Gardner as a character? This right here is Guy Gardner. This oh my god, double. Perfect. It's just perfect.
Yes, I love it. This is definitely
love
not
it.
in the main trailer, but I guess it is here, so it's gonna be in the movie. Then we have some more look at the flying, the big belly burger. This is a different angle than what we have seen so far. We get a better look at the journalist on screen. Definitely not Will Reeve. A shot of Lois from when I'm guessing they're at the scene of a war essentially, and I haven't listened to this, so I don't know what she's saying. But yeah, there's that, and then there's a rivalry spot. The rivalry one is the one that I've been seeing quite a lot. That's a 30-second ad spot. And that's the one where we shot this shot of him kind of holding up a building as a woman is trying to escape from her car on the bridge. That was shot in Cincinnati. And this shot, this is this whole ad spot they released during the NBA Finals. So we've talked about this one before. Literally the night that they released it, we talked about it, like while the game was going on. And then you of course have the rescue one, which is a more of an extended look at that whole rescue, which we saw them filming that on the bridge last summer. So you get to see more of that sequence with how the buildings are falling down and how Superman is obviously trying to hold it up while she can get out of the car. John, you get another angle, the fisheye lens, as Chris is not a big fan of. Superman flying. What are your thoughts on the flying sequences?
Very Adam Warlock. I'm ready for Heart to play in the background.
That is very Adam. That's very true. That's very true.
I think I will say I mean the costume design for the Justice Gang it looks like a very like corporate outfit. I get why I do hope we get like Guy Gardner's bomber jacket later on, because that's such a great like visual point of the character. But like,
there's Chris.
Yeah, okay, get the fuck out of here. But like this peak. But you're right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
TC24. You just made the list. See, Dan, I made a wrestling reference. I hope you liked that.
No, I understood that reference. We also have that clipped audio somewhere. But the Captain
just
America
made the
thing.
list.
You just made the list. That's you gotta say it with the Chris.
I can't
energy.
like yell right now. It's like almost midnight.
That's fair. Yeah.
TC24. I don't think I actually have you on this list, buddy.
Well, somebody yesterday was giving us a number. I forget if I saved it or not. I think Chris, was it Chris who gave us their number yesterday? I don't know if Chris has given us his number. They were predicting somewhere around like 500 million, which or 400 million in the low end. I was like, this movie might make that an opening weekend alone. I don't think it's gonna be,
I mean, I saw
million. So
the early
like worldwide
screening number.
Domestic,
I saw somebody posted a bunch of early screening like seats.
Mm-hmm.
They're all filled. They're all sold out.
When I went to do mine, but we'll get into that in a little bit because apparently they made them available sooner than the official time of the announcement. So we'll talk about that because when I went in like 5 minutes after noon Eastern time, most of the theater was filled. I was like, what the hell? Did people get to it that fast?
Yeah.
I did, man, as time get my early ticket. I did. And then Ron asking, what list is this? John,
so
can you explain?
So this is the list we have of people that what the movie will make in its entire worldwide run. Now, the ones that I have are Thrawn Kill, who I don't think we've seen in a while, Angelica Kate, Super Blink, Man of Steel Magnolias, Dan, Hugo Millie, just some geeky guy, Enterprising, Liz, who is not here today, Manos, myself, Figure Drawing, Hunter Iggy, It's Mochi, Antonio B, James Antonio Baker, James M, who I don't think is in the show that much, Caleb, Fiona, Ron, JB, and TC24. Those are the only ones I have on this list. So
That's yeah.
if you
well, there's
haven't
plenty of more
submitted
names to be added.
something, then by all means, yes, Ron, your prediction was 500 million. That was
seems like a
the
low number
lowest
now.
one we had. Actually,
That looks like a really low number now.
Yeah, the highest now
know,
we
man,
have
it's
is
time.
TC24 with 1.5 billion.
Yeah,
So
that's I don't know if I'm gonna go for $1 billion just yet, but I'm thinking probably 800-900 million, somewhere like that. Unless I already called for $1 billion, then who knows? Whatever. What's that list for, John and Dan? It's for the overall amount of the money that we think Superman will ultimately make at the box office. Like once it finishes playing in theaters, how much money will it have made? That's the list. So if you have a prediction, Steven, you let us know. John will write it down, because when the movie comes out, we're gonna go through the list and see like if we want to revise it, if people's numbers were really off the mark. So yeah. We're gonna, you know what, Watcher, I'm gonna save that, because we'll talk about that in a second when we get into the Prime premiere. Whatever, you bunch of Marys. Caleb saying my dad is excited for this film and he hates anything that comes out nowadays. That is a really good point. I mean, this movie is getting the average moviegoer excited, so that's exactly what you want to see. I think this is doing a much better job of that than even the Fantastic Four did. Well, Monique is adding her prediction in, John. There you go. I don't know if you have something for Monique, but she says that 748 million. That's a very specific number. If you're doing like, The Price is Right, she might be right on the mark or not. Who knows? Apparently for Chris, his theaters were empty for when he do you have a Prime membership, Chris? Did you try to get yourself tickets for it? Because I know, like John and I, our theaters were pretty much
right,
filled up.
guys. All right, I gotta write it all down.
You gotta write it down, man. M8 is adding his. He's giving you a range. I don't know. Are we doing a range? Do we need a number?
Yeah, we're doing a couple. We have a couple of ranges on here.
Okay. All right. We'll get it. Okay. Chris got his tickets pretty easily. There you go. All right. Enterprising saying if the reception is heavy on the positive, it will hit $1 billion. You know what? If there's any movie this summer that can hit $1 billion, I think it is Superman. Along maybe Jurassic World as well. That's a pretty straight shot $1 billion movie. The last 3 of them have made $1 billion a piece. My Dream in Orbit saying 820 million. That's a pretty high number too. That's a pretty high number. Okay. Not $1 billion, but still it's higher than what Monique was saying. Swag Fan 100 saying 800 million. All right, so kind of close to My Dream in Orbit, but a little more conservative. So 800 million. That's not a bad number at all. I think if it hits 800 million, like Steven was asking earlier, do we think it's going to make more money than Man of Steel? Well, Man of Steel only made like 671 million or something like that. So 800 million would clearly be more than what Man of Steel did. I think it has the potential to do that. Like the hype around this movie is more than what I saw around Man of Steel, and I saw that on an early screening way back when. So yeah, I mean, Superman will potentially win all of July if it has the reception that we're expecting it to. Chris saying that it was IMAX and the biggest in my area normally always sells out. Yeah, but IMAX also has way more seats. I think John and I both got non-IMAX seats. We'll get into that again later. I know that Liz got IMAX tickets, so when she's on the show, I'll ask her like whether hers, and she got it pretty late in the day too, so I don't know how many people filled it out, but I mean, it's possible. Yeah, IMAX takes longer to fill out because they have a lot more seats in the theater versus like the Dolby Prime or one of the other formats. Sean O'Rourke's reaction to the film after it makes $1 billion. Yeah, Caleb, we'll all be looking for people to eat their words if they were like, counting this movie out, but again, we never know. The reviews come out and the movie is terrible. Like there's always the chance, although really remote, there's always a chance. Man, just some geeky guys saying you can't compare Man of Steel's numbers to Gunn Superman numbers because the film came out 12 years ago and you have to adjust for inflation. That's true. And also there's a lot of other factors. Like it was a completely different time for superhero movies. And also like the box office competition was different. I don't remember what month of the year it came out in, so I don't know how.
I think it was 20. I think it was June or July.
June and July. So similar time of year, but I mean, it won't be a fair comparison. The inflation is one of many different factors that goes into it. What else people have to do, movie going habits. We're living in a post-pandemic world. There's a lot of different things. So it's not a fair comparison, but again, sometimes for simplification's sake, we will, put the numbers out against each other. You will see those comparisons in the next few weeks. So yeah, June 2013, Justin Kiki guy. I still think Man of Steel did really well for what it was. It just wasn't very well received by, a lot of the fans, and even the critics rating was like in the 60s, I believe. So hopefully Superman, has a bigger number there. 1 billion gajillion yen, says.
So I did.
We will have to do the exchange rate on that.
So I did the inflation, and 600. Unfortunately, I can't put 670 million, so I had to put 670, and that would equate to 1,273 and 30 cents, which would then be technically 1.2 billion. So that is what Man of Steel made in 2025 money.
If it's just purely adjusted for inflation, that's quite a bit. I didn't think it would be almost twice as much as the real number. Wow. Okay, well, if you're looking for that comparison, then can it make? I mean, one of you guys said 1.2 billion, so who knows? Maybe we'll do that. Do we adjust for inflation when the Batman came out? Weird goalpost for Soups. That's the thing. It's most people don't do it, and most of the reports you will see out there, they will not adjust for inflation, because again, the inflation is only just one aspect of when you want to compare two things. It's like, if you just adjust for inflation, The Sound of Music is still the highest grossing movie of all time. The original Star Wars is
it's Gone with the Wind.
Oh, Gone with the Wind. Sorry, that's the one.
Gone with the Wind made, I think it was like $4.2 billion
if you adjust
for inflation.
Yeah. But again, like, is that a valid number, right? Like, because you're talking also about like what else is out there, what percentage of the movie going audience went to see it. There's a lot of different factors. Like, people didn't have video games, people didn't have TV the way we do today, didn't have streaming, didn't have the internet back then. So can you imagine this movie coming out at that time? Like, obviously you're looking at a different world, and there's a lot of different factors. But TC24 saying Man of Steel would only be 903 million adjusted for inflation, John. Again, these numbers will vary depending on what calculation you're using. So it all equals out. Nico saying, which is a really good point, because again, it's all about like how much you spent making the movie and marketing it versus what you made at the box office. And to that end, I think Man of Steel and Superman have similar budgets and similar ad spends, so that's comparable. Sonic 3 had more hype by fans and only has 1 million less than Superman's official trailer reviews. That's true, but Sonic has never been a $1 billion movie franchise. I mean, but to that point, neither has Superman. But I think this movie is tracking still, in my opinion, closer to the Batman. So I think if it does somewhere between 700 to 800 million, fantastic. If it does over that, I mean, even 700 to 800 million, Warner Brothers will be popping bottles. So I don't think that will be a problem for them at all. And as long as the audience reaction and the critic reception is good, that's what's ultimately going to matter the most to Warner Brothers, because they want to make sure the new DCU gets off to a really good positive start. Holy moly, indeed, Gone with the Wind. And way fewer people in the world. Exactly. It's like apples to oranges. It's not a fair comparison if you just adjust for inflation alone. But yeah, hey, let's keep the ball rolling here. We do have a bunch of other stuff to get into. So, John, it looks like James Gunn recently posted just 6 hours ago, actually, Eagly's fourth best pal, Vigilante, celebrating his anniversary of the character. And of course, we're getting Vigilante back in Peacemaker Season 2. I know you're a big fan of Vigilante. What are your thoughts on on celebrating the anniversary of the character just months before we get him in Season 2 of Peacemaker?
Yeah, I'm torn, because it's like he's not the character, but for what he is in the context of the show, he's the best part of the show. So, there's that. So, good to see celebrating the anniversaries of all these great characters and these underrated characters too.
Yeah. Yep. I love the character in the first season. Can't wait to see him in the second one. And I think Freddie Stroma did a great job. Let's keep the ball rolling. Mike Flanagan says that his Clayface script is inspired by the Feet of Clay episodes in Batman the Animated Series, saying that the two-parter knocked me out. The short answer is that is what inspired my script, John. The script, but apparently is going through page one rewrites, if you believe the reports. So I don't know how much of that script will be left intact, but John, what are your thoughts on Mike Flanagan's inspiration for Clayface, the movie that got
Based.
greenlit by James Gunn and Peter Safran?
Based. Mike Flanagan is based. Can't wait to see Life of Chuck this week. Based. Did I say it was based? Because it's based. Can't wait for Carrie. Can't wait for Dark Tower and whatever else he has in the future. Based.
Cool. All right, moving on to Superman stuff now. Of course, this is the big Entertainment Weekly article that came out today. There's a whole video here, which is not playing for some reason, but you have probably seen it. Superman lights the way, how Hollywood's new Man of Steel shepherds the DC universe of tomorrow. 10 of DC's superstars, including director James Gunn, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, and Clark Kent himself, David Cornsweet. They took part in the cover photo shoot for Entertainment Weekly magazine's latest edition. And this whole article is fantastic. Like literally, it's super fantastic, whatever you want to call it. Go read it for yourself in Entertainment Weekly, because they talk a lot about, the different aspects of the movie, looking ahead beyond just Superman and what the new DCU is going to look like. All the images we got from it are pretty damn fantastic. One of the things that we got in it was also Nathan Fillion teasing Guy Gardner's Lanterns debut, saying a little bit higher strung, the characters, and you could see that from we got a recent ad spot, right, where Lois Lane interacts with Guy Gardner and he's a little high strung. We have seen that a little bit in some of the marketing. Nathan Fillion saying, I love the idea that if you have an emergency and you need a Green Lantern, there's thousands of them out there in the galaxy. This is the last one you want. So he clearly understands the assignment. John, what are your thoughts? Of course, in the world where we'll get at least 2 more Lanterns in the show next year, the very first one we get is Nathan Fillion. What are your thoughts on his understanding of the character of Guy Gardner?
Perfect. And I just think it's funny that you have this like super stoic, serious shot of these two guys, and you have this fucking dude in a bowl cut. I'm like, how the hell are they gonna make that work? So, and also, as Melmer said, rocking the sleeveless, tank
I love that
Kendra Saunders usually wears.
Yes. I love it.
Clearly,
she's she bulked up for that. She did some lifting.
She got that weight training in. Hell yeah.
Looking great, looking fantastic. That haircut could be against your wows. That's great. Yeah, the great line. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. This is another Entertainment Weekly article you guys should check out. But I recently came across this. This is from like a local news outlet, News Channel 9, where Neva Howell, who's playing the, Martha, Ma Kent in the new Superman movie, she was asked about the whole process of being cast.
Why did you say that name?
Why did you say that name? It's his mother's name. Okay, anyway. So Neva Howell was talking about the whole auditioning process, saying that made up for a lot of rejection. I had come close before, very close. When James Gunn called me over and said, we want you to be our Ma, I just kind of fell into him. I was so shocked. I mean, I can only imagine the scene. From everything we have seen of her so far, she looks like the perfect Ma Kent. John, what are your thoughts on these comments?
Perfect. She's perfect. I think it's going to be great. I think her iteration is going to be definitely fantastic.
Yeah. The BVS moment is never going to leave us, is it? All right, John, let's talk about the Superman post-credit scene that James Gunn has teased us with now, amongst the million other things that he's usually teasing us with. So it looks like he's mentioned there's going to be a post-credit sequence in the movie. So we will get a post-credit scene. And as far as what it's going to be about, I don't know how much he really gave away, but he did say that, from his time over at Marvel, it's kind of informs his approach for post-credit scenes at DC. I mean, Chris is saying maybe Brainiac, and, he's saying it's been confirmed. I don't think it's been confirmed. I didn't see it anywhere, Chris. I don't know if you have a source. Just let us know and I'll go look for it and we can talk about that. But now when it came down to it, the director behind the Guardians movies, and of course, James Gunn mentioned that I said in the script notes, I'm not going to put him in. I don't want to have Thor in the Guardians. So he did not want to see Chris Hemsworth in the Guardians movie. But I don't want to do a movie with Thor. And we all know how he felt about like the Avengers movies kind of messing up the Guardians trilogy. So it looks like his philosophy here is a little bit different. He does have a philosophy. It's somewhat related to his own mistakes from his time with Marvel. That's really all that he gave away here. I don't think he really told us anything about the movie itself. He in fact kind of regrets what he did for Guardians 2, where he set up Adam Warlock, and then he kind of wasn't the most excited of having to bring him in for the third movie. I know, John, you have mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Your thoughts overall on James Gunn's philosophy here? It looks like he's very cautious in his approach, at least from what we were reading in this article.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I could see him doing that because, like, I feel like what I got from Guardians 2 and whatever it actually was, I felt like it was kind of, Adam Warlock was a big character in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline in the comics. So my reasoning was like, Kevin Feige was like, all right, James, can you like put Adam Warlock in there, because then we can use him for Infinity War Endgame. And then he just never got used. And then he's like, well, it looks like I have to fulfill that promise now. And then we did. And it was just weird and awkward and not funny. It was one of the weakest parts of that movie. So I kind of, how it's like showcases Howard.
Howard the Duck
you know
one,
what's fucking hilarious about that, though? You know what's hilarious about that? Like, Adam Warlock gets set up for Guardians 2 and doesn't show up in Infinity War, yet Howard the Duck does get put into Endgame. Go figure. Like, it's just
I don't know.
Can't make this up. You can't make this up.
Jose's watching a little bit behind. He's like looking at the chat, and they're like moved on to the next thing. Yeah, you made me introduce just to do nothing. LOL. I'm sabotaging him on my way out. Yeah, that's exactly.
I just think I don't know if that's
yeah.
actually the case of what happened of Kevin Feige being like, "Hey, put him in there," or he just decided to put it in there. But that's just the vibe I got. Like, okay, he's part of this story. Let's.
Yeah, I think Adam Warlock definitely got done a bit dirty, like Chris was saying. But as far as what James Gunn said, there is hope in the sense that, he mentioned he doesn't want a post-credit scene that is purely future-facing, unless, in his own words, unless it really, really works. So there is a possibility, if there's a direct connection to Supergirl that they can establish, like we've talked about before, that could work. I mean, he's not saying what he put in there. He's just saying he's got a philosophy. He doesn't want to do something that is not going to get paid off, which obviously from a fan's perspective, you don't want to see something like a setup to which there will never be a payoff, like what they did in the last Thor movie. I don't know if you're ever going to get paid off. So, or at least in a way that we would, appreciate it. So yeah, but let's get into the next thing. Justin, we will get into your super chat because we're getting close to the Wonder Woman story. So we will get to that in a moment. But let's see what's next on the horizon. James Gunn talking about developing a sequel, which is only in some way a Superman sequel. John, your thoughts on this? Are you surprised that he's talking about a Superman sequel, but saying it is this? But is it a straight up sequel to Superman? Not necessarily. So, what else could it be? Are we now basically talking about World's Finest proper? Because this is also part of that same interview for Entertainment Weekly. And they were talking about how there's no Justice League in this world, not yet. That's exactly what James Gunn said. But then when it came down to addressing the whole like concept of, are we going to get a Superman sequel, and are you working on something? Well, in his own words, is it a straight up Superman sequel? I would not say necessarily. So what is it? The comment there you see on Instagram showing Batman, is it World's Finest? Is that the sequel James Gunn is writing? Is this basically confirmation of that? Or is it something else? Because I can only think of so many options. If it's a Superman sequel, but not really a proper sequel, A, is it another, World's Finest Batman v Superman situation? And B, if it is, then is that a problem? Because everybody wanted a Man of Steel, we never got one. Should they just be focusing on Superman 2, John? What are your thoughts?
I think don't repeat what came before, because it's like we never really got a Man of Steel 2. And we got BVS, which was kind of a Superman sequel, but like not really. So let's like not do that again, because essentially you're like, oh, we're going to be doing Superman, but not a Superman sequel, but not. But it's like, oh, hey guys, we made a Superman movie. Now we're doing a kind of Superman sequel with Batman. It's just like, okay, you're doing BVS again, but at this time it's they're together rather than against each other, which fine, but like you're still repeating the same mistakes of the previous cinematic universe. So it's like, let's not do that because I think that would be. But I think the reason that James Gunn wants to do this is because he is the head guy, he's the CEO, and he wants to cast Batman because he probably doesn't trust Andy Muschietti anymore to cast Batman. So he's like, okay, I'll do a World's Finest movie, and so I can cast Batman, get the right guy for the role, and then Andy Muschietti can work from that. Because I feel like the vibe he's giving out is like, I'm letting the directors choose, and I think in this case, if he let Andy Muschietti, who doesn't seem very passionate about his movie, about his Batman movie, that they're just gonna, kind of that he's just like, oh, we're not gonna get a great movie from this. So that's my thought. But like, I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, I'm just like, you're repeating the same mistakes from the past. Just give us Superman 2. That's all we want. If this is a success, we get something great from that. Just give us Superman 2. That's literally all we ask, So yeah. I just like I don't want like a team up movie. I want Superman 2. I want Superman 3. But like give us that. Don't give us like, oh, World's Finest. It would be nice. Like I'm not saying I would hate it, but it's just like Jalen, you did not have one, I don't think. I don't think you were here for that. But yeah.
Well, feel free to
I
give
don't
us
think
your
you did
number,
it, so
Jalen. What do you think Superman will make at the box office?
let us know. Um well, you can let us know now, Jalen. It's fine. Um but yeah, I think that we are. I don't know. Now I could be wrong on this. It might not be a World's Finest movie. It might be it might be a Terrifics movie. It might be something else. It might be a Daily Planet movie for all we know. But whatever it is, I just hope it'll be good. That's all I can really say. I just hope it's good. I hope this movie is good. But yeah. So Jalen, I'm writing it down now. There you go.
I mean, it could be the Terrifics. I don't know if it's gonna be the. Why would he be writing it as a Superman sequel if it was the Terrifics? Because I don't think Superman is joining the Terrifics. So maybe, what does Monique say? Dr. Evil, $100 billion. Yeah. Devin Manuel, if you want to give your number, we have a list. We're keeping track. So definitely let us know what you think, because I don't know if you've gotten yours either. Oh, could it be a Justice Gang movie? I don't know. Could it be I don't even know if that's the official name, right? So like, are we getting a Justice Gang movie? Maybe. You might as well call it a Justice League movie. Obviously, they've said the Justice League doesn't exist yet in this universe. So Jalen Harris saying I'm fine with the World's Finest movie. That is a moneymaker for sure. Yes, but is it too early? Like John was saying, is it too early? And again, making the same mistake again. It also doesn't mean that Superman 2, a proper Superman 2, might not happen. It just means the next thing James Gunn is working on, maybe not Superman 2. So, gotta get back into the fray, more cat night. Exactly. And speaking of which, let's keep the ball rolling here. The next thing, well, this is all, the Justice League stuff. John, we know we've talked about this before. We don't have a Justice League in this universe. Are we going to get to that pretty quickly, though? Do you think by the end of Superman we'll have one, considering we have the makings of a proto-Justice League already?
No, I don't think we're going to be getting that anytime soon. I think I think it's just trying to get as much distance between what we got in 2017 and just like kind of and 2021 and just kind of move away as far as we can from that and do his own version and whatever that may be.
Yeah. By the way, my dream in orbit, I don't think they're gonna kill Superman in his second appearance. Definitely not repeating that mistake. But Seven Manuel, I guess he's settling for 600 million, John. You can put him down for that. 600 million for Seven Manuel 7. That's his prediction for the movie. There we go. We're keeping track. What's that Christmas song? It's like he's making a list. He's checking it twice. Yeah, that's John right now. DC24 is saying if they do World's Finest with just like one Bat family member, that's fine in my opinion. Nobody explained BVS was too early. It opened up to 450 million. It was just trash. Yeah, it did open up to like 400 odd million dollars. It still holds the record for the biggest opening weekend for any DC movie. So it just didn't get the reception that they thought it would, you know, and that's what ultimately killed it. It didn't even get to $1 billion. So it is too early, in I think a lot of our opinions, to do that. So but you know, just some geeky guys sending in another super chat saying, do you believe you can still be a Superman fan and love both Snyder and Gunn's vision? Because so many elitists keep saying you can't be a Superman fan and like Snyder's vision, which is toxic and wrong. I'm guessing the last part was your opinion, Justin Geeky Guy, but I would agree with you. I think you can love both. I love both. I mean, it's a matter of fact. I love Man of Steel. I think it is the best Superman movie ever made, but I haven't seen the new Superman movie yet, so that might change for me in a few weeks' time. But even if it does, that all of a sudden doesn't mean that I think Man of Steel is trash. I think Man of Steel is one of the best sci-fi movies. It's like an alien first contact movie. It's a great depiction of how Superman would be, you know, dealt with, or how people would perceive him. He would be politicized. Even in this Superman movie, a lot of the same themes are there. The freaking official trailer was all about how Superman went and interfered in a crisis, a war that was about to happen in Baravia, and as a result of that, the U.S. Secretary of Defense is looking into his actions, and they showed the Pentagon. I'm sure they won't get to the point of maybe, you know, Granny's peach tea, but they're gonna approach it from a different angle. You know, James Gunn giving his own take, but thematically, the elements are all there. So like clearly, James Gunn looking to tackle the Superman character in a similar way to what Zack Snyder did, except Zack Snyder did it in his way, and James Gunn is doing it in his way, which are clearly two very different ways. But it doesn't mean you can't appreciate both. I mean, I don't know, John. Where do you stand on that?
I don't know. I just think you can like everything and be fine. Just ignore the assholes, you know?
Yeah. I mean, again, exactly like what Manuel was saying. They were going towards a Flashpoint Nightmare universe, which is something that was probably too dark for being the mainstream DC timeline. And I think that's where the studio disagreed with them quite a bit. So, but great super chat from Justin Geek Guy. We really appreciate you for, you know, sending those in each and every time. We love that, and we appreciate you for that. But yeah, let's keep the ball rolling here, John, because we have a bunch more to get into, of course. The next thing I want to dive into is the Wonder Woman news, because, of course, James Gunn like casually just let it slip that, you know, they're working on a Wonder Woman movie. So let's talk about it, shall we? Because it's definitely very interesting. We've been hearing rumors, and James Gunn never quite addressed it directly, but now he has. So as part of that same exclusive interview with Entertainment Weekly that we've been talking about today, James Gunn said that the Wonder Woman movie, I should say, is being written right now. He didn't really say much else, but John, we're getting a new Wonder Woman movie. I mean, who's writing it? Who's directing it? Do they even have a director? Is Wonder Woman gonna be Gal Gadot in this universe, or are they gonna go in a different direction? I have so many questions. What do you think, John? Where do we even start? I
think, okay, so since James Gunn said he was writing something, I initially thought that would be a Wonder Woman movie, but it seems like he's writing the Superman pseudo sequel, and I don't think he's writing the Wonder Woman movie. Maybe it's one of the established writers. Maybe it's not. You know, it could be Anna Naguera again. Like if she did such a good job with Supergirl,
she's still doing the Teen Titans script,
and like allegedly Teen Titans, and so you know, yeah, of course not. That's going to come out in like at least the 2030s. So I think like enough people were like, "Yo, we need Wonder Woman," and again, I wish Lenny were here to like give us, like her thoughts because she was so excited about Wonder Woman stuff and Supergirl stuff. And yeah,
Well, just some geeky guys. Other super chat from earlier, I think, is definitely
yeah,
note here.
no, people have been turning on Gal Gadot because she's, there's the whole political thing that I won't get into. Yeah, they're like people were turning on her long before this, and that's the reason why that she's the like people like this just fueled it even more so. But people have been turning on her for years, like not just from like a bad acting angle, just because she said some controversial statements with the current events that are going on in the place I won't mention. So that's the big reason why people are turning on her. It's not just an acting thing, but it's because of a political thing, which is very unfortunate. Um but so yeah, this essentially confirms Wonder Woman's being written by now. We don't know by who. Could be an established writer, could be someone they brought in. We don't know who's directing it. We don't know who's starring in it, but it's definitely very interesting. I mean, we already have a Cersei, so I would love to see Cersei as the villain, even though she was kind of the villain of Creature Commandos already. But Silver Swan could
I
be
agree with the
great. I
Watcher,
think
by the way.
I think so yeah, and with that, yeah, as well. I think Giganta ironically is a character that's a little bit too small for a Wonder Woman movie. I think it would be better if she was like part of like a team versus Wonder Woman, because I think Giganta is just like she's the 50-foot woman, not really much of interest you can do there. I would love to see Cheetah done right. That would be great. Maybe the Priscilla Rich, I think, version, the first version, which was like more like a
I love
just
how
random chick in a fucking cheetah outfit.
TC24. I love your comment, by the way.
Yeah.
Ana de Guerra just like moving on up in the world. She could be right. Anyway, go ahead, John.
But yeah, I think it could be. I think it could be great. I think it depends on who they get directing, who they get writing. I just, I want it to be good.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I agree with the Watcher. I think Gal Gadot is hated on a little bit too much. She's not the best actress by any means. She's also not the worst actress in the world. I mean, she did a pretty good job. And again, what was asked of her for those movies with Zack Snyder, I mean, he cast her because he wanted, somebody who could really pull out the physicality of the role. And yeah, maybe some of the scripts and dialogue written for her wasn't the best. I bet you it doesn't matter if it's Meryl Streep out there or Anne Hathaway or Gal Gadot. Kal-El, no, it's not. It's gonna sound dumb no matter who's saying it. Like, you can't blame her for that. Like, it wasn't. I mean, yes, she did a pretty good job outside of that in most instances. I believe the first Wonder Woman was a pretty damn good movie, and they did a good job of having like Chris Pine being there to, carry the weight of the film, and it was great. Like they make sure to highlight her strengths and mitigate the weaknesses, which is, you could do that with a lot of actors. She's definitely not the best actress in the world, but I think people hate on her a bit too much. Steven asking the same. I think one of you guys were saying in the chat, like, is it going to come out in 2027 or as early as 2027? John, let's do a little bit of speculation, shall we? So I'll start with the date, like you guys are talking about. Do you think this potential Wonder Woman movie that is now supposed, according to James Gunn, is being written right now? If it is being written right now, obviously until a script is greenlit, the movie isn't greenlit. Unless they have a finished script, they can't greenlight the movie. So I wonder if they're greenlighted at some point later this year. Do you think 2027 is the logical release period? Or do you think it will take a little bit longer to get it out there? Because right now, as far as we know, there's not much on the 2027 calendar for DC as is.
I think that's way, way, way too soon. You gotta write the entire thing. You gotta write it multiple times. You have to pick a director, pick an entire cast, like, film the whole thing, post production, all in 2 years. no friggin' way that would ever happen. Like, they would have to have everything done by now, and they're not announcing it, and they just didn't announce it until now, because that would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So no way. I don't see this coming out before the 2030s at all.
I also personally think this is a little problematic that James Gunn continues to talk about, like, just randomly drop. I know he's the head of the studio, or co-head of the studio. It doesn't make it any less of an issue that he's randomly mentioning this, because now you better believe, James, that the world wants to see a Wonder Woman movie. Because if all of a sudden you say, well, you know, it didn't quite work out. I mean, yeah, it was not officially greenlit, but there's the whole thing of perception is reality. Because you said they're working on it, and most people are going to take it and run it with it, and as, oh, they greenlit the movie, even though technically that's not been the case. So I can easily see, like, the next time they do a press event and they get asked about it, or they don't bring it up, then, you know, they might be like, oh, you know, things have slowed down on it and stuff, like what they did with The Authority. And all of a sudden it goes from being one of the officially announced movies to being something that we probably won't get for a long time, if ever. So I do think that, you know, there's a potential future where you know, he's backtracking and saying, oh, you know, we're trying to make it work and nothing happened. It's kind of like all the different Margot Robbie iterations of Harley Quinn movies that we were going to get at one point in time, and we were getting all these scoops, and, like, you know, Deadline and Hollywood Reporter and Variety were reporting them, but then ultimately none of those came to life outside of Birds of Prey, and people were like, you know, DC leaks like a sieve, and we have like a million different movies in the works, which is always true of studios. Marvel has a million things in the works that never see the light of day, but they keep a lid on it so that the rumors don't get out for everything. And here James Gunn is telling us himself. So I'm just saying, by making this a public information, he's putting the pressure on himself now to make this happen, because it's already something that David Zaslav mentioned. She's one of the pillars of the new DCU. So we better actually get something, especially in light of, like, that canceled video game. You know, Gal Gadot is still out there, like, you know, publicly stating many an occasion that she still wants to be Wonder Woman. She would love to come back. I don't know what DC's studios' relationship with Linda Carter is at this point, but, you know, she was a big fan of Gal Gadot's version of the character. So now the pressure is on, and this is one of those characters where you're going to be recasting now. Obviously, Superman recasting, we see people still out there looking for Henry Cavill. I'm sure whenever we get a Batman, people will compare him immediately to all the other versions, including the Robert Pattinson and the Ben Affleck ones. Now with Gal Gadot potentially not coming back, people will make that comparison. The same thing for the Flash. So it just happens to be we now have an official word from James Gunn about it. So, but to answer Steven's question, I don't know if she needs to be like a 6'4", 6'3" character. Like, Wonder Woman could be on the taller side, but she doesn't have to be. It doesn't really matter, because in movies they can make you look bigger. Tom Cruise did night and day with Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz is taller than Tom Cruise by quite a bit of a margin, but you look at most of the shots where they're in the same scene together, in the same shots together, Tom Cruise looks like he's pretty much the same height as Cameron Diaz. In Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan is always, you know, not always, but in a lot of his movies, he's been playing, you know, characters opposite other actors who are taller than him. They make him look the same height. They do it in movies all the time. I don't think the actual height of the actress matters as much. Unless you get somebody who actually is petite, you can only do so much with, you know, optical illusions. So that I don't think will be an issue. Enterprising mentioning that this could just be a treatment being written, not a full script. So yeah, but John, just to kind of quickly, you know, maybe we can come, like you said, Ana Negreira is a name. Maybe James Gunn himself might be writing, you know, just under the table along with a million other movies he's working on. But who do you think is potentially the writer for this, you know, supposed Wonder Woman movie?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's like going to be a rather unknown screenwriter. I don't think it's going to be anyone that's obvious. You know, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, this 100% definite thing. You know, it's I mean, maybe it could even be a comic book writer. I don't know, but whatever it is, I just hope they pick someone that's good.
You know what would be the ultimate comeback story if this is Patty Jenkins working on a reworked Wonder Woman script from what she had
Maybe
submitted?
I would
and
like to
that's
see
just
Mark Andreyko do Wonder Woman movie. I think that would be great
Yep.
for to have him write it. That would be
Yep.
really awesome.
And I don't know, Watcher, about the rumors of Gal Gadot coming back into the DCU as a different character. I wouldn't mind seeing her play somebody else, like, you know, Jason Momoa playing Lobo now. So yeah, if she's not back as Wonder Woman, I do not believe Pacerland that they've cast Wonder Woman yet. They could announce that at Comic-Con, unlikely, but yeah, it's speculation right now. Man, it's time asking, do you think DC Studios or just studios in general announce projects to please, I don't know, the board or the people that have shares and not just us fans? Well, they would do that only if it's officially greenlit. Those are so if this was an officially greenlit movie with a finished script and they were making an official announcement rather than James Gunn saying, oh yeah, by the way, they're writing the movie, which again, he will always point back to the idea that until the script is done, the movie is not green lit, which that's the thing of most people don't remember that, James. Most people don't pay attention to the details. So you gotta, you know, pander to the lowest common denominator. But anyway, I don't think studios, I mean, they do announce movies for the bottom line. They want to make sure the shareholders look at that. Like obviously when Marvel does a big Comic-Con presentation, announces that RDJ is coming back to play Doom in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, that had a big impact on Disney's, you know, stock value, like its shares in the stock market. It did. So in that sense, it's, you know, they go hand in hand. But I don't think James Gunn mentioning this randomly for DC Studios working on a Wonder Woman movie had anything to do with, oh, we need the Warner Brothers Discovery stock to rise today. Like, I don't think that's what drives that. It's just James Gunn just mentioned it. Obviously, he feels comfortable enough that, you know, it's at a point now where he's willing to talk about it because they just kind of sidestepped the question for the last couple of years up until recently when he started to hint at the idea that they're working on something. So yeah, I guess we've got a new Wonder Woman movie on the way. M8 saying, I think that's because people desperately want Wonder Woman news. That's why he shares a lot of information here and there. Yeah, I know, but like sometimes you just gotta tell people no. Like you don't, because he's found himself in hot water over many of things. Remember when Matt Reeves said on one of the red carpets for the award shows about the Batman that his goal is to get it into production by the end of the year, or even before that, he did some interview. And then James Gunn said, I haven't even seen the first draft of the script. Obviously, I don't think he was trying to throw Matt Reeves under the bus, but he effectively did. And then he had to backtrack and be like, no, he's working on a great script. We trust him as a filmmaker. He's doing a good job. You know, we just haven't seen it yet, but like blah, 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 blah. Right? So like this could be another one of those situations. Don't put yourself in, you know, hot water, you know, of your own making. You know, that's all I'm saying, John. That's just the one thing that I worry about here. So hopefully, if they are doing a Wonder Woman movie, if they have a script that's far enough, advanced enough, then they're pretty confident in it. I hope that's the only reason why he's talking about it now. So I just don't want it to become a thing where we think there's a Wonder Woman movie on the way, and then eventually, like, they say, oh, you know, we're kind of cooling on that one, which is what happens with a lot of things that are in development at most studios. It just happens to be that, you know, only maybe a 1% of those projects make it into the world. Will this be one of those? I mean, we sure hope so. That's the goal here. Bryce Dallas Howard would be a great directing choice. I think she would be fantastic. But she hasn't done anything as big yet, so this would be a really big step up for her. So I don't know if they would trust her with that just yet. John is obviously not a fan. So hey, Marco is here from Portugal. Hi, long time no see indeed, Marco. How are you doing today? Nope. I just messed up my chat there. But Marco, did you get yourself some early screening tickets? Are they doing that over where you live? Let us know in the comments, in the chat. Bryce does, Howard, her Mando episodes weren't bad. Not at all. She's great with TV directing right now. I just don't know if she can translate that into a movie just yet. So yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, man, it's time. Like with what you're saying, James Gunn has put himself in a tough situation in the past because of his just the way he is overshared things. Like all of us on the show, Liz especially, is like, James, like stop talking, just relax, you know. So those are great villain options. Enterprising, definitely good options. A lot of the ones that John even mentioned himself. So. Yeah, and the Wonder Woman 84, it didn't help that it came out direct to streaming. I think that movie would have made definitely a few $100 million at the box office, considering how well the first one did. But yeah, looks like Diana Prince is returning to theaters at some point in the, hopefully not too distant future, because James Gunn said when he was asked about it in that Entertainment Weekly interview that, Wonder Woman movie, it's being written right now. And that's all he told us. He didn't really say anything else. So that's all we have to go off of. We're working on Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is being written right now. Slow moving, but it's moving. So that was in regard to Paradise Lost. So I guess we still are getting the prequel as well. So Wonder Woman is separate from that. So these are not the same thing. Well, guys, let us know in the comments down below what you think about all of that. Are you going to be looking forward to this Wonder Woman movie, whatever it ends up being? Would you want Gal Gadot back in the role? We have obviously got a lot of you in the live chat, giving us all your opinions. We love that. But any of you guys watching after we are live, get in the comments down below. Let us know what you think, because then we'll bring that back in to the show for the Q&A session on Friday. With that, let's move back into what is now the main event of the show, the main event of DCU Daily, which of course is the Prime premiere screenings of Superman. So today, which actually on the East Coast now it was yesterday, they put the tickets on sale, and the Fandango and Prime screen, basically Fandango is doing the ticket sales, and Amazon Prime are the ones that are sponsoring it. So Superman's Instagram account, they announced it with the same set, where I'm guessing they recorded all of this all at the same time whenever they did this, pointing to where people can get their tickets if they are Amazon Prime members. Then Amazon themselves put out a little bit of a trailer saying that you can go get these Prime premiere tickets and go get to see Superman on July 8th at 7 p.m., which is a few days before the movie officially releases on the 11th, or even if you go to previews on the 10th, this would be 2 days before that. So they are available not in every theater. Like from when I checked, my usual AMC nearby, which is a pretty big AMC, did not have any options available. But then the Cinemarks that I have nearby me had it, and then there was a AMC much further away that had it. So I know that you and Liz and even Bridget had similar experiences. So now that we're talking about it, let's get into it, shall we? Because a lot of you guys in the chat were asking about this. Now, just to kind of give everybody a bit of a background, like Fandango, was advertising this. They're exclusively, these early screenings are exclusively for Amazon Prime members, but you can get your tickets through Fandango. So if you were to click on their email, it would take you to this page. You would have to log in with your Amazon account and be verified as an Amazon, Prime member. And that's where you can get those Prime early tickets. If you clicked on it and then you went through the whole process, if you weren't a Prime member, they would say, sorry, you're not eligible. But if you were, then you would, be sent into the Fandango portal, and that's where you would be able to put in your zip code and then get your tickets. Now, originally they said these tickets were meant to come out at like 9 a.m. Pacific time and 12 p.m. Eastern time. But I remember like logging on at 12:05, John. I don't know what your experience was, but like half the theater was already sold. So unless the demand is that high, because apparently the site was crashing at some point, I don't know. Like, do you believe that they might have? Because apparently some people were thinking they might have released these tickets a bit too early, like they maybe by mistake, but they might have put them out like, I don't know, midnight, like 12 a.m. Eastern time as opposed to 12 p.m. Eastern time. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know what the timing is, but I just remember in terms of what I was doing, what I was getting, I think I just remember most of the theater was sold out. Not all of it, but most of it. So I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was great to see people excited for this and wanting to see it, especially for Prime members. There's not a ton of Prime members, so like, I think that's a great thing to see. I don't know if it was released too early or what. I don't know what that is about, but I mean, to be fair, I did it later in the day. I think I did it around like 3 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't get a chance to do it until that. So
I didn't wake up early.
I didn't wake up
It was
early.
like noon for me, so like
I wasn't
up for a
too.
few hours. Yeah,
I'm like, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't.
yeah.
Then
Liz got it at
whatever.
like 5 p.m. somewhere around that in the afternoon, because she wasn't even sure she could make it because of her work schedule. And then she was able to get some IMAX tickets. And then Bridget got hers around the same time. So all of us got it like, pretty late in the, well, not late in the day, but like I got him around noon. Like you said, John, you got him a little bit later. So, I mean, Seven saying right now he can't buy tickets. I know I've started to see some theaters being sold out. Like, Bass Reeves was in the chat earlier saying his screening sold out in his area. I mean, I hope you have more options relatively close to you, so maybe you can go to the theater that's a little bit further away. And like I said, John, not every theater nearby had them either. Like it wasn't like my big AMC that I go to always was not participating. So I had to like go to a Cinemark, which is what I'll be doing. Or actually, no. I chose a Regal because I'm gonna be in Jersey that day. So like I chose a Regal that's in that area where I'll be on that Tuesday. So the Cinemarks near me were doing it. And yes, Stephen, to answer your question, we both did get our tickets. We definitely did. Meanwhile, Hunter Iggy's comment from earlier. Yeah, the world's finest might be on the way. Indeed, a Superman sequel. Let's see what else. Did you guys have a good experience, an easy experience getting your tickets? Are you guys all Amazon Prime members? Because apparently there were some problems with the tickets crashing, the sale crashing, the Fandango site even, and erroring out a little bit. So some people had that issue. Maybe that was a little bit too early, and I guess they weren't quite ready to go yet, because I didn't see any of this. I had a pretty smooth experience with it. The only thing I struggled with was logging into my Amazon account, and it needed like to do 2-factor authentication. But you guys let us know. Like, did you have trouble getting your tickets? Was Fandango working well for you when you got it? Manuel saying he didn't look, but they were pretty full too. Yeah, for me, most of the primary seats in the Regal that I got it for were full, and then only like some of the front rows were open, and then there was still a good spattering of seats, but I was surprised to see how many of them were filled up. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, for some of you guys, you might have smaller auditoriums, so like it might have filled up. I mean, look, TC24 said he got his at 8 a.m. and it was on the East Coast. There you go. Exactly. That confirms it then. So they did let people get in a little bit earlier. I mean, I was up since like 9, so maybe I should have just logged on just to see, and I might have gotten better seats. Although I did get some pretty good seats. I'm kind of like center in line with the screen, and then a few rows from all the way from the back. So it's still a pretty good spot. Interesting partnership. No, well, I mean, Amazon has done this before. I mean, yeah, Amazon MGM Studios are rivals to Warner Brothers, sure, but Amazon has done Prime Premiere screenings before that I've been to one or two that might have been Warner Brothers pictures as well. So there's that. Enterprising saying he can't right now, but he will try to watch the premiere. Monique saying Prime members got to buy Dungeons and Dragons early access too. Yes, that was the other one. I don't know if I got to that one, but that was one of the other ones that they did. You like Regal's popcorn? No, the reason why I'm doing Regal is because where I'm gonna be that Tuesday in New Jersey wasn't an AMC that was any closer, so the closest one was a Regal, and I'm doing like the RPX format, which I think is one of their premium ones. Pacerland saying John Campia said tickets went on sale at 1 a.m. by mistake. He got his at 5 a.m. by chance. I did see that. I actually watched that segment. Yeah, so somebody probably made a mistake. I mean, dude, if that is the case, then Bridget and I were still live. Like right after the show ended, I could have just gone in and got my tickets. I mean, in hindsight, but I didn't expect it to be, so I wasn't looking for it. Like that's probably a lot of people. A lot of people a lot of Prime members probably the first time they saw that this was even a possibility was the ad on Amazon.com, like when you logged in and it showed you like get your Superman early screening tickets, because most people don't watch like shows like this, so they're probably not aware of that. TC24 saying got mine no problem this morning, but it was before the announced time, so that's probably why. Exactly. Emmanuel's Time saying in France, the biggest theater, the Grand Rex, announced 2 early screenings. That's awesome, because especially for you in France, aren't you getting it like on July 9th? So you're already getting it like a day or two before we get it in the US and most other parts of the world. So I wonder, Manos, you let us know what day are those early screenings? Is it all on the 8th, or is it even sooner than that? TC24's theater is pretty much full except the first row. I don't know, Steven, where did you see that casting rumor for Teen Titans in the Fall? We haven't seen that, so I don't know if there's any validity to it. Let us know your source. Maybe drop it in the comments, and I'll go investigate that for tomorrow's show. Yeah, I mean, the tickets will start selling out pretty quickly once they do the official sale for the movie, because they haven't put the tickets on sale yet. That happens today, isn't it, John? Aren't the tickets going on sale later today now, the Wednesday the 11th? exactly a month away. So later this afternoon, you'll be able to get your tickets to Superman for once it does release, not the early screenings, but when it's officially out. Yeah, that is a good sign though that they're doing this early screening. They're confident in the movie. Speaking of which, they are very confident with this entire photo shoot, which we will get to in a little bit. But James Gunn did talk about how, and responding to one of the fans asking him, what about the people that will go see this early and then spoil it for everybody else? Like, isn't that going to be a problem? Like spoilers going out there as much as 4 days before some people might be able to see the movie. And James Gunn said, hearing a spoiler won't kill the movie. The enjoyment of the film isn't based solely on its surprises. And I agree with that for most movies. B, but if it does concern you, please be careful of where you go online during those few days, which is pretty straightforward. Like some of you guys won't be watching the show for those days. But John, what are your thoughts on what James Gunn said here?
I still think there is people get a little bit too spoiler heavy, but I think
I don't know if they're made out of red kryptonite. I don't believe that. I don't believe just drawing.
I think I do think spoilers do kind of hamper the movie a little bit because sometimes it can remove the enjoyment for some people, not everybody. Like my friend is like a couple friends of mine are like, yeah, just tell me, I don't give a shit. So there are some people like, don't tell me anything. Like there are people that just like stop going on social media before a big movie comes up because they're like, I don't want to know a goddamn thing. Like I remember right before I was going to go see Star Wars The Force Awakens, I was in the clear for so long and literally
I got to spoil for myself.
and literally the day before I saw someone posted that Han Solo got killed. I'm like,
that was the big one.
Close.
That was the big one. I got it spoiled for myself on purpose. I've been looking and then I saw it on Reddit. So I'm like, whatever. Okay, so Manos Time has 2 early screenings on the 8th, one at 6 and one at 9 p.m. Wow, okay. So us poor Americans
I only had
are
one
getting
for
this
7.
One. Yeah, we only get one for 7. I guess in France he's getting 2. That's twice the goodness, man. That's awesome.
Fucking French. What? Why the fuck do you assholes deserve 2 times? Get out of here.
Hey, calm down. Manos Time is from France. Like we love our French folks and fellow movie loving folks out there. David looks 10 times better when he's not Superman. Well, we'll get into that in a second. Enterprising's roommate hates spoilers. And you guys were talking about the Jeff Snyder situation, about what he was saying. Let's see. Jeff Snyder were also the one who said casting for the Titans will start during the fall, so take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, I mean, okay, so they will start casting them. Great. Take it with a grain of salt because, again, James Gunn has said, there's people out there who are really off the mark, and some people are really annoying, or one or two people are really annoying because they always give away his secrets. So I don't know where on that spectrum Jeff Snyder lands, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just wait for the news. But John, The Force Awakens was not good. Being spoiled for a bad movie is not quite as bad. I actually thought of all the sequel trilogy movies, it was the best one. When it first
came out, people liked it. And
it was a huge deal. It was the first Star Wars movie in, 2 decades almost? Yeah, come on.
No, it was okay, if we're being technical, well, it was the first live action one in 10 years, and it was the first overall Star Wars movie. When did Clone Wars come out? I'm curious about
it.
It
was probably like halfway.
It was 2000. It was 2008. Yeah. So it was like in 7 years technically. So
I'm sure you can find gorgeous women everywhere. Enterprising, but Teen Titans movie being made is kind of a spoiler. No, we've known this for a while because Ana Naguera, like James Gunn confirmed it with the press event earlier this year that Ana Naguera is writing it. So Rogue One is the best modern Star Wars movie. I agree with you there. And Andor is
I mean that's a low bar though. I mean it's not the greatest thing ever, but it's still pretty good.
I love it more than John does. The hype is getting really, really high for Superman. Of course, that's why we are here. A hype does not 100% fan service movie make. Exactly, Yoda, aka figure drawing. But you know what Monique was saying, I think is interesting. There has to be a reasonable spoiler-free time. Like getting upset for something you released years ago is crazy. Exactly. And to that end, I'll let you guys know this. The week that we all go to see the early prime screening for Superman, we're all gonna do out of theater reactions. So you're gonna get one from me, one from John, one from Liz, and one from Bridget. And then we will talk about it in spoiler-free fashion earlier in the week. So probably on that Tuesday show. And then we are not gonna do a spoiler review until Friday. And then that Friday we will just spend like a good 2 hours, so probably, or if not longer, just doing a spoiler review. And you guys can bring in your comments. We'll really do a deep dive. We'll do a long spoilery discussion, but we won't do that up until the last show of the week. So we won't spoil anything for you from the early screenings. The third act and ending of Rogue One is peak Star Wars. I agree with you, Caleb. So you haven't seen 7? Okay, we won't spoil it, Jose. Don't worry. I'm coming in here spoiling everything for a stream.
Everyone dies. Every single person in the movie dies.
TC24, here's the thing. If you come in and spoil everything, we will put you in a timeout, because we will be on, like, John will be policing the chat, and probably moderator Fiona will be as well.
I will ban people if they spoil shit.
We do not want to do that. Spoiler for Superman, he has a bulge. Yes, of course. We knew that last summer when we were doing all of those behind the scenes photo coverage. We have known that. That's not a spoiler, man. That is a prediction. In fact, that is a fact. Will it be a special episode with you 4? Oh, you know what, Manos? That's a good question. We haven't figured out the logistics of it yet. I think we're going to try to get everybody on. We might even have Fiona on that day, because she's going to see it with me. So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see how we can make that work. We have done that before, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if we can make that work. Well, there you go. You've spoiled, all of Star Wars for everybody, Caleb. Good for you. Darth Vader is Luke's father. Okay, let's get back into the EW stuff, John, shall we? Entertainment Weekly did all these fantastic photo shoots. Of course, the cover shoot. You can see there, even Chris loves David Cornsweet in this outfit. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it did the whole the phone booth thing. I love Lois Lane's dress here with Rachel Brosnahan looking gorgeous, and I love Nicholas Hoult, of course. Again, a different costume. Rachel Brosnahan just has been literally and figuratively on fire throughout this whole promotional, and then James Gunn looks amazing as always. Those photos are great.
I love the guy that's like David's arms. Whoa.
Where? There, yeah.
David's arms. Oh my god. They're like my entire
Holt also
head.
got in really good shape. Every time we see photos of like Lex Luthor in this movie, they're like, oh damn, that dude goes hard, like, until the engineer, like Maria Gabriela de Faria, was like, I think like she's really mean to him at night, and they have a whole thing. I was like, dude, that is the funniest shit I've ever heard. I love that that's how they played it off. And there's actually a photo that we're gonna look at where I think, like, I'm like, you know what, that she might not be far off the mark. Phone booths, though, yeah, that's the thing I want to get into, John. They are doing like this whole phone booth thing. So let me see, where is the one that I want to look at? This one here. I know you loved seeing this when you saw it earlier in the day. It looks fantastic, and the fact that they did this whole cover shoot, which this is like, I guess, a motion cover. The way it ends is basically the printed cover of the magazine. They have phone booths here. I have a feeling that they didn't just do that randomly. Do you think we're gonna have a phone booth or two in the movie, considering what they've done here? Because we were talking about this last year, and we have all speculated, are we gonna get phone booths in a modern metropolis? This particular phone booth design is straight out of the comics. So do you think we're gonna get that in the movie?
I hope so. I did give my I hope so. I don't think it'll be the case. I think this is just for the promotion because it's so iconic. But and remember, David Cornsweet has a wife. Calm down there, Rachel.
He's got a baby on the way too. Come on now.
He has a wife, or at least a fiance. I forget which one, but like Rachel.
No, she's married. I think he's married. Yeah.
Calm down there.
Well, Rachel Brosnahan is also married, so there.
Okay. Just calm down there, you two.
And James Gunn, if you were interested. But anyway, John, you were saying though about the phone booths. Do you think we're gonna get them in the movie?
I hope so, but I think this is just promotion. So I want it to be true. I think I would say revolving doors. I've seen plenty of revolving doors that are still around, especially in New York.
I walked through a revolving door at my job. Like, oh,
Yeah.
so it's
I see
yeah.
them all the time in New York. Um, yeah, I mean, they're real and they're spectacular. Anyway, but
I was
yeah,
gonna say.
I want I
Yes.
want them to be in the
Yeah.
movie. But like, I feel like that would be a good James Gunn-esque gag. Like he's like looking for a phone booth. He's like, what happened to all the like? Because maybe there's like phone
Mm-hmm.
booths in like
Mm-hmm.
Smallville because it's like
Right.
an older farming town,
Yeah.
so they like still have like some phone booths lying around, active or not. And then he's like running around trying to find a phone booth but can't find one. So
Yeah.
okay, let's not get into that. Um,
Um,
but yeah,
that
I
was
think
different.
that
I don't think we're getting that in this movie. Sorry, John. Continue.
yeah, I just as Daily Kryptonian said, this is Aura. I hope it's real, and that gag could be funny, but I just
Yeah. I love it. Let's kind of quickly go back a little bit here and take a look at these photos, though, John, because I love all of these new looks. We have talked about this one already earlier in the show. It looks like this is from the metahuman prison, but then the next one that we have, I think, is interesting. You've got
mm,
the trio at Daily Planet, probably
they're
looking at some
looking
TV
up.
screen. They're looking up. They're looking up at probably the kaiju that is destroying the city before Clark has to mysteriously disappear. This obviously is been in the trailer, Mr. Terrific with Lois Lane. I wonder what's going on here again, if they're stepping into a pocket dimension of some kind or wherever they are, because we see the Hammer of Baravia in a shot similar to this in one of the trailers. Lex Luthor, more shots from the Fortress of Solitude. Again, looking very classy, very snazzy. Even here, this here particularly, I think reinforces what Maria Gabriela de Furia said about the whole chemistry between her and Lex Luthor, which I will just play that for you guys again because we got to talk about it again. It's just so amazing. It's awesome. I love it.
Okay, so I told James that probably she had some trauma when she was a kid, that she felt the need to be part of that change. Whatever that means, and whatever she had to do to make it happen. But then I also think that they have a secret relationship, and I kept telling James, like, I feel like they and like Lex is so, he's so serious, and then he has this gorgeous girlfriend that he treats terribly. So I'm like, what if, like, after hours, Engineer gets really mean with Lex and he loves it?
Wow.
I mean, this image, you see it here. It's like in almost every shot we see Eve Tessmacher, all she's doing is taking selfies. Obviously, you see Ultraman in the background there, pretty much overshadowed by Miss Tessmacher. Then you see Lex Luthor doing his thing, but the Engineer's clearly focused and maybe even annoyed at the fact that somehow Miss Tessmacher is there, or Eve Tessmacher. I mean, I don't know, John. Do you think what Maria said is kind of true? I mean, she did a lot of telenovelas, so maybe that's just her way of finding her way.
Yeah, I
into the
mean,
character,
that could definitely be the case. I mean, so was, I don't know what it would be like. I don't know what would it be in Portuguese, but Daniela Melchior was kind of the same way, where she was kind of like a, I don't know what, I don't know if it's like difference between Spanish and Portuguese, but like she was kind of like that, Portuguese soap opera actress, and then, became this. So
yeah.
I think that's kind of funny. But if it's just like a lore thing that they did, if it was like
Oh
they
my
just did
God.
that, but like it's not confirmed in the movie, just like to help them get into the character, kind of like what Nicholas Holt was saying, like, oh, Lex Luthor built this like always replenishing battery, or he's like, we
Yeah.
never reveal
Miss
that in the
Tessmacher!
movie.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
never
God.
reveal that in the
I don't want
movie,
to say that.
but it's just kind of like how he gets into the mind of this character and how he got famous. So that could work. I will say Eve Tessmacher, I think they're going a little bit too much with the, modern,
Like
like kind
literally
of Valley
every
Girl
shot.
angle.
Dude, every single shot we have seen of her, I'm sure she does other things in the movie, but it's just every single shot we see of her, she's doing some kind of like selfie. I've seen her in literally 3 or 4 different outfits taking selfies, like including in the Arctic or wherever they are for the Fortress of Solitude. It is a bit over the top. But you know what? Good point from Caleb. There are colors in this movie. It's not as muted as the color palette of Man of Steel was. So definitely different that. Alexa the engineer is also matching, but Eve is just there. Maybe she's his side piece. Well, apparently she's Lex Luthor's girlfriend, but I don't know. Maybe, you know, Lex and his preferences in that aspect of his life. Yeah, I guess we'll find out in the movie more about that. So every time I hear Gene Hackman screaming her name, Miss Taskmaster. Yeah. Rest in peace, Gene Hackman. Yep, working for those likes as all influencers are. And speaking of which, why don't you guys hit the like button while you're here? Let us influence you into hitting the like button. We appreciate everybody who's watching. She is probably an influencer in the movie, given how many. I mean, maybe she's not just taking a selfie. Maybe she's live streaming to her audience from the polar. I don't know where they are. If they're in the Arctic or if they're meant to be in Antarctica, whichever it might be. But John, the next image we've already kind of seen earlier in the show. I love that, you know, like you said, a sleeveless version of the costume for Hawkgirl. You're getting to see her without the helmet. For whatever reason, Guy Gardner's not happy right now. But you see the ring on his finger, and of course, you know, Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane wearing the same suit jacket the same jacket that we saw her wearing in that shot with Mr. Terrific. So it might be all happening on the same day. What are your thoughts about this? Are they at their HQ right now with Maxwell Lord Enterprise? Lord Tech?
Yeah, I think it's possible. And yeah, Caleb, you are correct. Merced went to the gym. She did not skip
like
arm day.
Yeah, she didn't skip arm day. Yep.
But yeah, I think this is, you know, just I can't get over Guy. I just love how perfectly ridiculous it is. Yeah,
Hawkman. There's no Hawkman in this universe yet.
No, I think like because he gets to, you know, tap that to say it.
I got what he was. I got the reference, John. I got the reference.
I'm just saying I don't know what you know. So
there was no Hawkman, so we don't know if this Hawk. Yeah?
Isabella Merced, she was Dora, and like that was like that movie where it was like everyone was like, "Oh, this is gonna be the worst thing ever," and then everyone saw it, and she was, and it was like, actually, that wasn't half bad. Like my friend saw it, and he's like, "It's ridiculous, but it's actually pretty good."
Yep.
Where it's like they actually establish in that movie that like Dora like talks to herself, and they're like, she's doing the weird thing again where she's talking to the non-existent people, and it's like, all right, that's kind of cute.
I love every time they do a parody of that is the best thing ever. I've seen so many parodies of that whole Dora talking to the imaginary audience. Everybody went to the gym except Guy Gardner. Well, you never know. I mean, if he takes that off, maybe he's got a sleeveless situation going on too, and we just have to wait and find out. You sure that's Hawkgirl and not Lady Thor? You know what? Good point. I mean, Natalie Portman also worked out quite a lot for that role. I mean, despite the fact that the movie was terrible, she did a great job getting into, you know, superhero shape. Since that's Hawkgirl, I'll gladly be her Hawkman. Well, okay, Manos, I'm sure a lot of us would volunteer for that. She's currently in The Last of Us. That will be coming back.
Yes, she is.
For the next season. Well, figure drawing.
She's gonna be a mom, while the other chick is gonna be a dad.
John,
no, I just heard it was
okay.
That's no, my friend was telling me this. I didn't see it. I just heard it was like not that bad. That's just all, you know.
Yeah. Well, Monique said she took her nieces and nephews to the movie and they dug it. There you go. Johnny's saying, imagine Gunn used Hawktwa girls for Hawk. Okay, great. Figure drawing, we hope you do get to go see Dora at some point in the not too distant future. But yeah, I'm going to be a dad. Elite. He's got the bowl cut. Yeah, he doesn't need to go to the gym. All right, moving on to the next photo. I love this one. You know why I love this shot? Because even though he doesn't have the full cape, that suit is toy.
No belt either.
No belt. The suit is toy. Like there's no loose bits anywhere. Like it's perfectly fit. Even the bulge is kind of tucked in. Like I love it. I love this photo. Obviously they're shooting some of that, I guess, the metahuman prison stuff here. Yeah, that looks nice. John, what are your thoughts on this? More of a behind the scenes look. You also see some chairs back there. Maybe these are some
Looking
of
good.
the crew members.
Looking good.
Yeah. Well, Be Positive is here. So hello, Be Positive. A little late to the party, so be kind and rewind so you can check out all the other goodness we have already been into. But I'm glad you're here now because we're still talking about Superman. Plenty more to go. We've already talked a little bit about the a little bit about the Prime premiere. Yep. Tyrone Magnus made fun of that specific picture. Really? Of this one? I don't know, Manos. Why would he do that?
Because Tyrone Magnus is a fucking bitch. That's why.
What's
Like,
wrong
why is
with
that
this photo?
asshole still
It's
relevant?
not even like something from the movie. It's like they're just talking about a shot, and James Gunn probably explaining what to do in the next take for David Cornsweat. Like, what is wrong with this shot? It does not look cheap, dude. What the hell are you talking about? I don't know, Chris. This movie, the money is on the screen. I think the money is on the screen. I think you're mistaking that whole traditional, that Michael Bay, Zack Snyder, like, you know, orange and green film look for like it needs to be that to look cinematic and expensive. Watch the original Superman movie. You know, it's like that movie was pretty expensive for its time, and it did not have any of that. I think this movie, they went all out. And the costume, I'm okay with what James Gunn came up with. It's not my favorite Superman costume of all time, but it's grown on me, so I'm liking it. I definitely think like the kaiju, that's expensive. That whole sequence probably cost them a shit ton of money in VFX. There are so many characters, a lot of actors. It's a huge cast. All of that is expensive. All the VFX for all the metahumans in this movie, very expensive. All the stuff, all the practical effects that they have for Metamorpho, that's expensive. It's time consuming and expensive. So I mean, the money is there. You could see it on
I
screen.
like how Sir Quid is like, I'm fully invested. I feel like I think it's the same. I'm fully invested. Like, I love how you're going to, because throughout the show I've seen the same guy be like, I'm fully invested. Like, okay.
Yeah. Yep. By the way, we did hear about the Bella Ramsey X-Men Rogue rumor. I just haven't given it much credibility because it's so far away. But good shout there. Be positive. We will talk about it if it becomes anything more than just a rumor. Chris saying the suit looks rubbery and leathery at the same time. That's weird. Yeah, but that's true for a lot of superhero suits. It's got texture. I mean, it makes sense. Like they've done that for like the Man of Steel suit. Like it got shinier in BVS, but it looked kind of similar in texture. Although the texture was more detailed, I do prefer I think the Man of Steel suit.
I don't think it even is a gray filter. I think it's more of a blue filter.
Yeah. And even that's only in some of the shots. It just happens to be a lot of those shots we've seen in the trailers. You might watch the movie, and especially like there's sequences like when they're at the Daily Planet. Like, okay, so this is behind the scenes. Look at this shot. I don't see a blue filter anywhere in this shot. This has a blue filter, well, because you know they're in the Arctic. Clearly, Fortress of Solitude. You get it. This one, you can see there's a clear contrast between the two, but the lighting kind of lends it, to that blue filter. Here, I mean, is there a blue filter? A little bit, maybe. If you look at the blacks, are they a little bit tinted to the blue side? Sure, but honestly, like if you're really nitpicking those details, the movie already has other problems, right? So I think when you watch the movie, as long as you're not focused on the color correction and you just can dive into the movie and focus on what's going on the screen, that's what ultimately will matter. If you're worried about the color correction halfway through the film, then clearly the movie has not grabbed your attention. So that's really what it says to me at the end of the day. You know what? That Brandon Routh Kingdom Come suit was pretty good. I still prefer the suit. Again, my opinion only. I prefer the Man of Steel suit. I know, John, you're not necessarily the biggest fan of that. What do you think about the Man of Steel suit?
Man of Steel, just I get what it was going for, because they wanted to do the whole realistic thing. Oh, like have it be realistic. It's like actually get it because it looks like underwear. So we made it the underwear of the Kryptonians, because you see, like in the beginning scene, you see, what was it? The Jor-El like hop into the, when he's getting the codex and he's going into the water, he's wearing like the slick suit, and it's like, oh, because it's like kind of like swimsuit material. So like, yeah, I can see that. I mean, I get it. I liked the succeeding suits a little bit more. I like the gold. I love the gold in the S and the scarlet, and like I just wish it was a little bit brighter. And you know, it's like I get like I like the detail, like, but I just don't like the fake. It's like, do you really need the fake abs in there? Considering like
That was a
my
little over the
boy
top.
Henry's got real abs.
No, I
so,
know, but like it's the other thing is like the suit was this very much like fitted, almost like it's like a second skin. So they wanted to make it really enhance, and maybe like when they did camera tests, Henry Cavill's real abs didn't shine through as much. Maybe it was just. I definitely think they upped a lot of those elements for the BVS suit, which I didn't like as much. I really personally prefer the Man of Steel suit myself because I think it was a little more toned down in those aspects. But like Man of Time saying, everyone has different tastes. So, but at the very least, I don't think this is going to be our Man of Time saying it's not going to be the kind of movie where people will have a problem liking it, because this movie is not like it's not straying too far away from the core identity of Superman, which is exactly what I think was needed in this reboot. So, well, I mean, Caleb, that's your opinion. I think the Christopher Reeve suit is good, but it's very outdated by today's standards. They did too much under the underneath muscle suit in BVS. Absolutely did it. I agree with you 1,000,000%. TC24. I preferred the Man of Steel suit for that. But this is great. Some behind the scenes of all the photo shoot here. They had not just the main star, pretty much the whole cast was there. I love seeing this. The behind the scenes looked fantastic. But John, I mean, overall, what are your thoughts on all of this from today? We got James Gunn talking about spoilers and cover shoot. It just keeps on coming. Like literally, you have no idea how long it took me to like collect all of this, and then for us to like prep it and make sure we can talk about it. Like it, these shows are getting longer and longer because there's just so much to talk about. And I'm we're gonna try to get a hold of it and maybe like narrow things down. But yeah, like look at this. This is what's coming up in a month, John. Super Fantastic, Superman and Fantastic Four both dropping in July.
Well,
I love this
Jurassic, if we're counting.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to stick with the superhero theme here.
Yeah,
so
right.
I love the
I'm Fantastic Four. I'm super, man.
I'm feeling super, man. I feel fantastic Four. I love it. We gotta bring that back, or somebody turned that artwork into like a motion comic. Yeah. Let's see. Dan, what did Fandango say about the sales of the early screenings? Oh, Manos, I don't know if you saw this. We were discussing it earlier. So apparently there were some site crashes happening early on. So if you went to Fandango when the tickets first went on sale, they were having some issues on the site and was crashing. But I guess they're saying that's a good sign, right? Because that means there was enough demand that the site was starting. I don't think it was a big issue. It wasn't like Fandango went down for any significant period of time, and it probably was only happening for a few people. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. Oh, we're getting a new ad spot tomorrow, Jose is saying, and maybe we get some heat vision. So that would be the first time we have seen this Superman uses heat vision. We have seen the Hammer of Baravia use it. So there's that, which is supposedly is the clone of Superman. So we'll see if our main man has that power as well. Yeah, no, exactly. Ice breath, heat vision. Hopefully we'll get that tomorrow if we are getting a new ad spot tomorrow, as in today. Later today, we'll definitely talk about it on the show, the next episode. Have there been no test screenings? John, I don't think we have heard of any more, have we? It's just small things like James Gunn has been. He's done with the movie now, so I mean, there's no reason for a test screening at this point. Like he wrapped it up. He said we're done. Like it was Thursday. He announced it. The last VFX shot went in. The post-production is complete. This movie's ready. And James Gunn, quite frankly, doesn't have time to do it any more work on it because he's probably packing right now. Because in like a week's time, they jet off all the way to the Philippines for the first stop of the Superman World Tour. So I don't think they needed to do post-production all the way to the end because James Gunn is going to be flying all over the world with the rest of the cast promoting the movie. So I'm glad they're done with that. So there's definitely not going to be any more test screenings. If you hear any rumors, they're not true. So yeah. Thoughts on the ballerina flopping at the box office? Well, be positive. We did talk about that earlier in the show. So be kind and rewind. I don't think it's flopped yet. There's still a story to be written there. It's not even been in theaters for 10 days. So I think it's a little too early for us to make that judgment. It definitely underperformed at opening weekend, but it could have legs. You know, people might still go to watch it. Like if it doesn't get anywhere close to 200 million, then yes, it probably at that point you could say flopped. But it's too early to say. It's too early to say. It's not like what happened to what was the stuntman movie that Ryan Gosling did last year, The Fall Guy. That movie literally did flop on opening day. Like it made like a few $1,000,000, and they put it on streaming like a week later. I don't think that's happening with Ballerina, so it's not in that kind of trouble. Why Pedro Richards walking like that? I mean, there is a bit of a butt shot there, but this is just fan art, guys. We're appreciating the fan art. That's all it is. Yeah, and I like the comparison that you could see both of them have a lot of blue, but like the two cities look a little bit different. There's more of the sun on the left with Superman. I really like the look of the suit from the back here. The cape looks nice. But yeah, guys, that's all we got today. We went into even more stuff than we had initially on our schedule, but you guys have given us more things to look at. And as we're doing the show, I'm literally looking through my messages, and you guys are sending us like, oh, here's something you can talk about. Here's a new ad spot. Well, tomorrow apparently we're getting another ad spot. And anything else we get, whether it's from James Gunn doing another interview or more details from the Entertainment Weekly article we might have missed, we will talk about it. But until then, guys, it's been almost 3 hours on the show, and it has been packed. I just want to tell you, if you are watching, we see a lot more of you guys watching than likes on the video. So please, on your way out, hit that like button. We do appreciate it. If you are new, then just know we are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, with DCU Daily. So you can be a part of this conversation, throughout the week. And if you want to know when we go live, hit the notification bell so it tells you when we are live. Until then, you guys can keep the conversation going in the chat. And thank you again for Just Some Geeky Guy for your super chats earlier. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you. It goes all back into the channel, making the show really good. And we are putting our plans together for the week of the movie coming out. We'll all go see it. We'll all talk about it on the show. We'll have a party. You might even bring back some faces that haven't been on the show in a long time. So until then, until tomorrow, guys, have a great day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Be safe, everyone, as Swag Fan is saying in the chat. And well, we're gonna see you tomorrow on what is, I'm sure, gonna be another smack tap packed episode of DCU Daily. Go out there, watch something DC related. We'll see you tomorrow. And John, thank you for another fantastic show. It's 1 a.m, so we'll just take a bit of a breather and be back at it in the morning. Until then, guys, have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow on another episode of DCU Daily.